Tears were being shed in the abyss. The mother of demons, the Pale Night, was in mourning. Many of her children had fallen in a forgotten war, throwing her into deep grief. But one, her firstborn, sought vengeance. Orthronix was trapped in the realms of Kasrosar, and it is here where we first met the Free Company. There was Conrad de Vizier, a lord from Highkeep, a halfling pacifist named Trout, a man of many disguises, Bracken the Brambleman, and a Razio grizzly scribe, an archer searching for something lost. We'd followed this party as they first went to liberty, freeing the people from the tyrannical rule of the masters, then across Kellowin in a hunt against Orthronix, where we sadly lost Trout and Razio, but were greeted with Rufus, the new human, and Rust, Razio's bow pro. Soon they would bring the fight to the Fellstar, and with his defeat, into the abyss itself. There they were to seek freedom for Kellowin and Kasrosar from the grip of the Pale Night, and with the Demon Lord's defeat, it was blessed and granted. Words of these individuals started to spread within the shores of Kasrosar. Heroes. The like the land had not seen for an era. Word travels fast, and their names were soon upon the stories of the bards singing and orating across Kellowin, Liberty, and even further reaches of the realm. But they were not ones to sit idle for long. After some rest, some outstanding matters, and some allies and friends, they went on their way. And some on their own, for Rust would take Razio's bow and his legacy back home. Rufus would start to sniff out the one who had turned him. But we turn our attention to Bracken and Conrad. A lord in a lordless land no more, Conrad was returning to Highkeep. The Brambleman by his side, and both with a tale. An epic tale. Redemption, exile. What mattered now was the truth was to be written. The blades would sing, and finally they would see. They all would see. And hello and welcome to Roll the Bones. As you can see, I am not Rob. Rob is actually further across here. And for the shock. For our regular viewers, you'll know me as Mike, Silaster the Snow Elf, but today, and for a short while, I am the DM for our upcoming couple of games. So this is going to be fun, isn't it?
Well, hopefully.
Yeah, we really hope that it is going to be fun, Michael.
On you, mate.
We will sharply advise you should it not be enjoyable.
Fun.
I'm very excited about this. We're returning to characters that we have not played for a span.
Yes.
Quite a span.
And I think it's a few things to note. Firstly, as you can see, we are but a team of 3. We are missing...
Army of 2, let's go!
An army of 2. We are missing both Matt, a regular from our Knights of the Apocalypse games as Obsidian, and also Craig, who hasn't appeared in Knights of the Apocalypse, but was a regular in this game as both a Razio and Rust. And they are both missed, and we hope that Matt especially manages to get some sleep in the next couple of weeks.
They kind of both had to stop for sleep reasons, didn't they?
They're taking a long rest, and by long, definitely needed.
Yes.
Yeah.
But to explain, me and Dom used to do this quite often, didn't we? Because we,
did.
When Matt wasn't around, we had a when Matt isn't around campaign. Called the Scourge.
Yes.
So, but that's another story. Anyway, yes, very excited.
Yes, I'm slightly concerned for when the two of you have normally played together and I have DM'd. You have played the most chaotic, the most evil characters you can, and those characters, slight tangent, were verging on godlike. So I would like to see how we're going almost the opposite direction, I hope. But
Well, they are going to be godlike. They're epic
Let's
level,
go.
man. Maybe not evil, but
and thank you, Matt, for your generous ruination.
Matt
Will come in handy.
usually
You
use the
bastard.
viewer rewards to give Mike a ruination. Oh my god.
That's cheating.
That's that's cheating because he hasn't earned those. He's had them simply just been banking them for this very moment.
Hey, I'm looking forward to it. And I think, yes, one thing just to point out, this is an epic game. And for those who don't know, an epic game is for all levels 20 and above. And rule sets were included in 3rd edition and as such 3.5, but haven't really been prominent in 4th or 5th. So
Onwards.
this is a rare treat. As we shall see what will happen. So, is there anything more you two would like to add, or
Just to explain about the viewer rewards, which Matthew has very kindly reminded us of.
Yeah, thanks.
The ruination, of course, is going to give effectively 5th edition's advantage to the DM. There is an alternate to that, which gives us that, I believe, at some point. Inspiration.
which
But
you don't have a person, Rob, so
So ruination should really be for Rob. Is that what you're saying?
I'm taking ruination.
No, yeah, we'll work out the viewer rewards for another time. We did talk before the stream, didn't we? And we realised that adding a D4 to epic level rolls isn't going to be much of a boon, really. So we're going to work it out to see whether or not they will be fully at play for this game. But other than that, nothing else to add.
Yes. Well then, I think we obviously know Conrad and Bracken, but I think we need to do some introductions for everyone. So, where to begin? He says, yes, it's playing. There we go. So, we're actually going to move away from Casrasar for a second, at least from Kellowin. We may still be within the realm, but right now we're not in Kellowin. In fact, we find ourselves at the Silver Sea, aboard the Swift Cutter. The vessel has left port and is on course to arrive at Lions Bay in under a week. Winds permitting, of course. Captain Wenlow is currently in discussion with the bosun, heads looking at maps and sextants, charting routes. Bit of a heated discussion going on the upper deck. Some of the deckhands are busying themselves with ropes and some with crates and cargo. But that's not who we're here to see. So first roll of the game. Dom, you're first on my screen. Give me a D2. 1, it's you. 2, it's Rob.
Love rolling D2s. 1.
It's Conrad. So firstly, you'll find at the top Conrad there with his winged glory. Where would he be? And also, what does he look like? Who is Conrad?
Yeah. So he doesn't always have wings, I should point out, but that's fine. I think Conrad would be. He often finds himself striking poses and putting himself in the most sort of picturesque spot. Should anyone be looking at him at that point, so I think he'd probably be right at the very front of the ship,
Right on the bow.
right on the
leg up on the
bow.
rail.
That's exactly what I was going to say, man. He's got
Lead
one leg
singer
up on
at
the rail.
concert.
Exactly.
Wonderful.
Looking out into the distance across the sea, spray causing rainbow fractals to appear and then disappear. But Conrad himself he's almost the very picture of a knight. He's full plated armor. He has, as you can see in the picture there, he's got sort of yellowish gold, almost, a flowing cape. His armor, though, is not quite the shining knight image that he may once have had, as it's been absolutely battered beyond recognition over the time of the campaign. He is a man who has developed from being an arrogant son of a bitch to the sort of man who would gladly stand in the way of a strike so it doesn't hit someone else. And as such, his armour is dented, scratched, scraped, and in not the best shape, as is the man himself. He's... you'd look at him and you could probably tell that he's been magically healed, but the remains of battle has left his face with a pattern of light scars to match his dented armour. And probably if you saw him walking, at times a limp might develop, which he would quickly hide and stride forward with confidence upon noticing it. But he once was a very handsome young man, now still probably quite handsome. But he's a giant of a man, he's towering, he's sturdy, and he does have unmagically removed scar of just a slight nick below one eye, almost a teardrop scar from many years hence.
Excellent. And yeah, as we can see, Conrad strutting, showing off their just, yeah.
He's in full plate armor on the seas as well, which is a choice.
That is a choice.
This is a choice. Yes. Oh my goodness.
And yes, now we turn our attention standing behind Bracken, or wherever you wish to be. What of you, Rob? Sorry, Conrad, Bracken.
Yeah, yes. Bracken is stood not far behind, and that sea spray that Dom described is caught high in the breeze, and as it refracts into that rainbow, the light of it dances across the prow of the ship. But then those colours begin to swirl, almost like a whirlpool in midair, and spin, that light transferring into the palm of a wizened-looking figure who, by contrast, is he's not a small figure, but he's a slight figure. Quite like a messy robe covers his frame. Though if you were to sort of like catch a glance out of him out the corner of your eye, you would notice that robe appears to change colour ever so slightly when it catches certain points of light. And he's wheeling this light that he's caught out of the air, almost like a fidget spinner, like absent-mindedly playing with it in his fingers as he looks with kind of like a 1,000-yard stare out to sea. From beneath very bushy eyebrows and from beneath a hood that half shades his features. His bearded face is kind of like haggard and a bit drawn. He remembers the time that they spent in a different plane known as the Abyss. And he finds that every time that he just allows his mind to wander, particularly when it's dark, particularly when he closes his eyes, he remembers that maze-like darkness, the eternity. He remembers a towering structure, like forged magically from bone, and then he blinks away, and once again he is greeted to this beautiful view before him. He's a shabby wizard!
He's a shabby wizard, yes.
He is a shabby wizard.
But whenever he wants, he can decide to look not shabby. He can sort of like change his appearance quite willfully. But this is him when he's relaxed. This is just him being himself. And his then glance then moves to Conrad, um, before sort of like looking over whoever else that we're sailing with, and that's Bracken, the Brambleman.
And can we not forget a little creature that's scurrying around on the feet by you as well?
Of course, next to Bracken is quite apt because I forget him all the time. Is the fact that I have a familiar I often forget. Yes, Bracken does have a familiar. You see that there is an electric blue fox called Hex that curls around his legs and sort of like wanders around, and he makes that that cackling, laughing cry that only a fox can make. What noise does the fox? What's the song?
What does the fox say?
What does the fox say? That's it. That's kind of like his voice. And he can, because he's so powerful, and because they've evolved together in their many journeys. Hex can talk, though they really just talk psychically, because I don't think they ever had a voice. But so he'll sort of like hand maybe some remnants of rations to Hex, who gnaws on them. It's some of the dried meats, yes. The infinite source of dried meat. Yes.
Or one of Acheron's eggs from the chicken that was stolen.
Oh no.
But
yes.
I mean, Hex spent a lot of the campaign in your coat, or in your robes. So
he loves it in
Hex
there. Yeah, he's fine in there.
He's enjoying the sunlight. He's
yes.
Basking in it for a while. But this is where we find ourselves, and well, the ship is yours. We have, as I said, there's 4 crew, and I say there's 4 crew on the lower deck, and the captain and the bosun on the upper deck.
Listen, I would have words. Bracken sweeps to the back of the ship.
Also, you should have control.
Do you feel in control? I definitely feel in control because I've moved.
Yeah,
let's see. Yeah, Bracken is in control. He'll sweep to the back here. Bosun, I would have words.
He puts what looks like a sexton just into a big satchel on his side. Yes, apologies. The captain and I were charting and plotting our course. Everything okay?
Well, that's rather why I've come to speak with you, Bosun. You see, quite in the furor and enjoyment of this high seas adventure we are enjoying, I've quite forgotten where we are chartered to.
Of course. Well, we are heading to Lions Bay, as was where you charted. But I think
I remember now.
Yes.
I don't remember that at all.
That was mentioned.
Which, if you're unfamiliar, let me show you a map. As he pulls out a map of your destination.
Wow. Conrad, at last we have some idea of where we're journeying to. Come and see. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Oh, look at that. Oh,
And it's a big boy, I will say.
Whoa, he's a big boy.
Keeps going.
Yeah, he doesn't fit in the thing that I set up. Well, that's fine. Wow.
In theory, we shouldn't be using all the map at once, so we'll make it work.
We will use all the map at once.
So
look at that.
He, with a finger, is pointing out to you. Well, you said you wanted to get to Highkeep, and well, as you can see, Lions Bay is the quickest way to that in the Noble Bay. But yes, we typically just sail within the regions and the coast of Kellowin, so travelling to Lavelis and Vardell is out of reach for us normally. But well, how could we deny a lord? And well, so if the stories be true, celebrated. But we are a little bit dubious, you see. We have to pass via the Haxel Strait. And, well, there's been a dispute of late. And it says that Haxel's reach is extending and the front line has moved far south than it was. So we can't go too close to the coast. The Navy will just stop us. But if we head too far out to sea, we reach the elemental tides, and that will rip our ship to sunder. So we have a very narrow passage that we must travel through to get there. You see a deckhand give a bit of a shout, said, "Watch out for that thing, the big thing with the arms and the thing that drags you under." Shaky Remy, get back to just with the ropes, all right?
Shaky Remy. Why is he shaky, can I ask?
Shaky.
You have a look at his hands, and they're just like this.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
He's got a quiver.
Oh, no. Okay.
Yes, there was a... Oh, sorry.
Might I ask, Bosun, why the Navy would prevent us arriving?
Well, Haxel at a war with Vardell, and to say that a side is one is good and one is evil is not something we should be doing, but it is worrying what Haxel are doing, and they have not shown any mercy in the past to others, and it is not worth it. Even we fly under the banner of a cargo ship and a merchant ship, we would be apprehended, or worse, killed. And I quite like my ship. She is swift. We will get there.
So will we be hugging the bay closer to Night's Rest? Is that what you're...
Oh, we will still be aiming for Lion's Bay. I will point out the
skirting closer.
The area in question, Haxel's Strait, isn't actually. It would be just kind of north of this map. The region of Haxel extends much more than where we are. At least, I will say this from your side, Dom. You are aware of Levelis. You're aware of Highkeep, and its.
You should hope
realm.
So.
You're also aware that the last time you were here, Haxel was not at war with Vardell, and the front line did not exist. This whole region where Haxel is on the map was Vardell. There was no war, and in the time you have been away, while the army has come, it is stopped only by the Hag and a new bastion known as Vardell's Hope up north. And its land of Vardell is rapidly losing. Apart from the Hag, Pantera holding strong.
Being the River Hag, right? Yeah.
Conrad will... Not a literal hag.
Say a hag. One single hag.
I mean,
let's held back the forces. Yeah, to be fair, they're annoying. My God.
Yeah. In which case, Conrad will speak to the captain. I assumed that I went with... I didn't actually move the token, but I went with Bracken. What war are you talking about, Bosun? There is no war between Haxel and Vardell. They've always been, perhaps strained, but peaceful, are they not?
Well, very recently, something has got up their sails. I don't know. But they say Lord Ulrian is declaring himself sovereign now, and their war is reaching. I would point out, just for your sake of things, where Kellowin is, where you were in the previous map. Haxel, if that was like North America, Haxel is sort of like South America. You're going down the same realm, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. And what of Highkeep? Are they presumably staying well out of it?
I don't know. As we said, we stick to Kellowin's waters, and I won't submit you. You paid us handsomely. I'm not going to turn down that money. Sorry, actually,
we did.
The captain, Captain Wenlow would have chipped in there and said, "And you paid us handsomely. We're not going to turn down that money."
Yes, well, we was the least we could do for such an intrepid vessel to make this journey for us.
Aye, so long as we keep to the
Especially
straight.
Pastor was in.
Aye, indeed. But take you back there. Is there anything else you wish to?
Pray, how many hours until we can make landfall?
A few more days yet.
Oh, that was optimistic. How many
Several
hours?
dozen.
I'll ask again. How many hours will it take?
96, about 96 hours. There you go.
Okay, perfect. Well, no. If there is any insight into other local affairs, I would be glad to hear of them, as I imagine my comrade will be very glad to hear of them. I understand he has an invested interest in what occurs within this land.
Shaky
Indeed.
Remy's like, all right, look. Come over here.
He's a shaken. Okay, let's go over to Shaky Remy.
He's a shaken.
He's a shaken.
He's a shaken.
He's a shaky boy. Let's go. Hello.
Which one is Shaky Remy?
Shaky Remy is actually near the bow of the ship. He's not carrying cargo. He's
more muscular than I envisioned.
he's just still got the shakes.
Yeah, I mean, he works on a big ship. You
Yeah,
got
no,
to
it's
be able to craft, don't
yeah.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know lots of what's going on. I do. Plenty of gossip. What I know outside of Kellowin. I know of Axel and wait, yeah, and Lions Bay. Yeah, I know it all. What do you want to know?
You didn't sound convinced that you knew Lions Bay.
Well, I ain't been there, but I heard.
Ah,
What
okay.
did you
So what have you
hear?
heard?
They say that Lovelis, it's green and golden and reds and blues. It is just a beautiful land. They say the maidens are pure, and there's no evil in those lands, they say.
Might change in 96 hours.
Well,
Oh, that's a
And
joke.
what?
We're not evil, sorry.
different campaign.
With the
Different
slaughter
campaign, sorry.
begins.
The slaughter begins immediately. Yes. No.
What of... I've forgotten the name of the place immediately. Haxel.
Yeah.
What do you know of Haxel?
Oh, they say, Lord Orion, they say he was granted a wish, and it drove him mad. And now he wants all the land.
He was granted a wish. What was his wish?
Oh, I don't know. Them like ginnies and all that. Could have been anything.
Fair enough.
Conrad,
Yes.
can you give me a level check? Let's see. You've been away for a while. Let's see if there's anything you can recall of kind of Lavelis, Vardell, and just the region as a whole.
Okay. 29.
29.
I mean, that was an average roll for a level check.
Yeah. So, you're very much aware that the lower regions of Kasrasar are colloquially known as the Lord's Grasp. There was, in the past, a king who ruled over a large portion of like the southern reaches of Kasrasar, far south from Kellowin and Sordark and where you've just come from. And in eras past, Upon the death of the royal family, it was instead decreed that the power would be divvied out to lords, and the regions would be split into lordlings. So you'd have liege lords, some from Highkeep, some in Pantera, and such. Lord Orion is of one of those lording families, who is a lasting legacy of rulership and from this king's order from back in eras past. How far back, you don't know. Second era, third era, could be. You know that there's power in Highkeep. That's why Lovelis has managed to stay the way it has. There's the power from the lords in Highkeep to maintain the region. You know the lords in Pantera. You may have been once or twice in your youth, but you're also aware that if the land is shrinking and Haxor's reach is closing, then that power dynamic will shift, and potentially the likelihood of war as well.
Right, well, Conrad will briefly explain the lay of the land to Bracken. Not going into too much detail, obviously, but just to say that Rob's aware of everything that I am as well, or Bracken is, I suppose.
Just to be clear, so lordling. Do you mean liege lord, like lords that are sworn to?
Liege lord. Yeah, so the royal family perished, and the region of the royal family became the Lord's grasp, with liege lords taking over that domain.
Serve him, sure. Yeah.
Yes, and that's been a lasting legacy for an era or two. Highkeep being one, Pantera being another seat, and you're not sure in Haxor where that seat may be at the moment.
Right.
Conrad, this invasion that's occurring, this is striking at the heart of your homeland. Has this ever happened before?
I'm assuming not.
No.
No. No,
I mean,
war does not come readily to these lands.
What I know of your people, they are much like you, martially adept to the point of enjoying it almost too much. No, not enjoying it too much. I take that back. But it must be a frightful force indeed to be able to advance on Highkeep in this way, surely.
Well, by the looks of where the front line is, there's some miles to go before Highkeep would be under serious threat. They'd have to go all the way through the country above, which has also slipped my mind.
Also got a name.
Which also does exist.
This country that does exist is now.
Yes, they'd have to get all the way through Vardell before Lovelis would be.
But if Shaky Remy. If Shaky Remy is to be believed, then he said that the war was advancing rapidly against Highkeep. Now, if there was one place in that region on that map, there was one place that I wouldn't want to march an army against, it's at that mountain range. So
yeah, Highkeep is well known as being almost impossible to breach.
But its surrounding settlements may be the ones to suffer.
Most likely should war take itself there.
We arrive at a land strewn with conflict. But what do you want to do? What now that we are here, or now that we are imminently arriving?
Well, we're still 96 hours away.
But when we do arrive, it might be a good idea for us to know what we want to do.
Well, as soon as we land in Lions Bay, I suppose we should find out what's going on.
Yes.
Before moving anywhere else, it's probably sensible to get the lay of the land.
What I told you before has
Would
not
you think?
changed. Well, what I've told you before hasn't changed. It is my oath that I swore to you was to ensure that we could to return the influence you once had in this realm. It looks like they'll need it.
Entirely possible. I mean, things may have changed.
Yes.
I certainly have.
Haven't we all? Still, 96 hours means I have 96.
You more than us, others.
Yeah, well, with that amount of time I can craft some scrolls and I can do a bit more research into the powers that will help us reshape this land.
Yes. Unless you have anything urgent you wish to ask of Wenlow or the bosun or Shaky Remy or even the other crew, we can...
Shaky Remy was talking about a armed creature that reaches... What were you talking about, Remy, when you shouted across earlier?
Oh, stories from my grandfather, he said. They say in that waters there's little hope of passing through with cargo and wealth. And you can see the captain just looking, rolling his eyes, just like... They say there's a creature that lives deep beneath the waters, and it sniffs out all the gold and cargo on board and drags it under. Superstition, of course.
Yes.
The bosun chips in here and says, I would like to point out for the superstitious here that we do bless our cargo and our ship, and we have never seen, sight, or smell anything of this creature. It's talking out of his arse.
How often do you take this this journey?
The captain looks up. The Swift Cutter, this is its first time. But the crew here, a few have travelled further south before. Other vessels. We are blessed. We've followed the superstition and the tradition. It is fine.
Everything is fine.
Everything is
fine.
Just stop asking us questions. It's fine.
It's unlucky.
Okay. Well, we will be open to a game of dice should you see fit. But in the meantime, I have work to do.
Very well.
And I begin crafting some scrolls.
Very good. And I will say, this is a ship that you can see isn't designed for long journeys. The sleeping quarters, although they've done their best to accommodate for the two of you, more so they've just partitioned off a part of the lower decks underneath with just some tarp and some rope to try and partition you a private space in a hammock to sleep. It's not pleasant, but there is also something refreshing about just being away from the abyss, from the ghost labyrinth, just the calm and the quiet and that sea air. And the night falls in and it's calm waters. There's very little to worry about. And you said you're, just for my benefit, you're crafting something?
Yeah, so as with the last campaign, Bracken is able to trade the gold's worth of the spell to craft a scroll, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he is going to be crafting a scroll of significant power.
Significant power.
Significant.
Bracken spent most of the previous campaign writing, didn't he? writing
Yes.
scrolls and
Writing scrolls indeed.
He is in the middle of crafting one, and he notices that, as had previously occurred, ink occasionally begins to flow from the tips of his fingers. And then he flicks it away, and it's not there anymore.
Yes, and your spellbook as well. I can't remember. Is that still on your person, or have you hidden it on your person?
The Liberoctis. Oh, the Liberoctis is, if anything, it's plain for all to see. Perhaps too plain for all to see. Perhaps the real Liberoctis doesn't look like the... this Liberoctis looks like it's on him, on his side, like with a chain around him that keeps it like to his person. Many a wizard has both benefited and not benefited from chaining themselves to their own spellbooks in the past. But Bracken has taken certain measures, as he did last campaign, to make sure that that book is kept safe. The Liberoctis, the Book of the Eight, his renowned magical artifact, a spellbook said to contain all magical knowledge of this realm. Just sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to find it in the book. Pages change every day. And today he has noticed that there's like a small recipe for like a hare stew that's like scribbled into the corner as well. And he wishes that the rations of the ship extended to such a beast. Alas, it is kippers tonight.
Dried meat and kippers. Yes. Well, you were busy yourself in the evening, writing scrolls and resting as well. And what of Conrad?
Well, in the past, Conrad would have practiced his martial abilities, his maneuvers and stances, preparing himself for coming days. But these days, he finds that instead of spending his time doing practice, he's more trying to look after what he's got. He's having to stretch a lot more. He's having to he's got a wooden stick that he rolls on his muscles and tendons, trying to loosen himself up and keep himself limber and stop any injuries from lingering too long. He's into yoga now.
Into yoga.
Probably not really yoga, but yeah.
He does have maneuvers, so that makes sense.
Yeah, he's a peaceful warrior, and yeah, all that.
It's whether it's just a lingering memory, or maybe it's like rain still evaporating after a storm. The thoughts and the feelings of the abyss are still with you, even these nights, even about a month or so on. You're still... Maybe it's the presence of the abyss in your belongings. There is a powerful demon trapped within a gem upon Bracken's person. A lot of everything you wear, you own, you have has been tainted by the presence of it. And it takes time, but there is still a lingering feeling. And as you were saying earlier for Bracken, nights are still not fully peaceful. Not fully. Not yet.
Yeah, I wonder if that's what part of the root cause of some of Conrad's aches and pains is the cold. Instead of being mentally overly affected, it's the cold has got into his joints and his body is showing the signs of the abyss rather than necessarily his mental state. as he's often able to brush things under the carpet, even if they don't linger in his foremind. Perhaps they're in his back mind, as it were.
Yes. It doesn't interfere with your rest, I will say. It doesn't prevent you from getting sufficient sleep. It just lingers. Just something. However, you all awake to an abrupt start, as there is a sharp jolt to the ship, as for a moment everything sways, everything moves left and right, and you're still lying in your hammocks. But the ship itself starts listing radically, and you're almost rolled out of your hammocks onto the deck, and you can hear up on top the captain ringing a bell. Ding, ding, ding.
Hell's war was that?
Hell's bells.
And Bracken fumbles with the tarp that's been tied to partition us away, and is there for just too long, he can't undo it.
I mean, I will say you're doing this with a very, very wide stance to stay balanced here. The ship is moving quite a lot as you're still just trying to do all this at the moment. And you can hear...
In which case, Conrad will activate his Root of the Mountain stance. Just to stop him from falling over.
As far as I know, you don't really move that much in Roots of the Mountain, do you?
No, I can only move very slowly.
But you are rooted. And for the time being, it's still okay. But for some reason, it's like the ship is now listing, but it's like it's swaying back to normal. And then again, it's like it's listing again, and it's slowly listing back to normal as you eventually release the tarp.
Thank God. Thank the gods we're free. Bracken will rush above deck, eyes wide.
Yes, Conrad will join him, dropping the stance as he runs up the stairs because he can only move 5 feet at a time in that stance.
Yeah, and the captain is busy grabbing everything, and he's shouting to everyone, "Get on the hoists! Grab the sails!" And he's shouting to the others, "Brace that! Brace it!" as everyone's running on the ship. For them, this is out of place, but these are actions that have been practiced as they are rushing to grab sails and lines and hoists to try and get the ship back under control. But I need a balance check from all of you. Maybe not if you're still in Roots of the Mountain, but Bracken, I may need a balance check off you.
Oh, yeah, because
No,
balance
I'll
is
have to do a
my
balance
best. Balance is easily my best skill. Oh, this has changed. Advanced roller.
Yes.
Oh dear, I don't like that. I do not like that. That's a 9. Epic level, baby!
I do. Epic level's very good at highlighting what you're very good at, and everything else which
And what you've ignored for 20 levels, yes. Yes,
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
At this point, are you still in Roots of the Mountain now? You're at the top, or did you come out?
No, because I would have had to come out to
Yeah.
join with any speed.
Yeah, you both go flying, and you go flying to the port side, but it's not just you. Most of the crew do as well. In fact, and the captain... No, they all go. The captain's the only one. He falls, but he's still clutching onto the helm at the top. And you hear something go... and you hear wood creak and splinter. And you hear it again on the port side, on this side of the ship. Just another as the ship is now at a permanent list, leaning portways. And then the water just erupts as breaching from the water, you see a ferocious head. The head of a black dragon.
What? That is not what I thought I was going to be.
Conrad will cry, "Where's Rust when you need him?"
Oh yes, our feudateer.
We
The
shall do
dragon
without
slaying
our
weapon.
feudateer this day.
This. Now, you can give me a knowledge arcana if you wish. For any of
Can
you
I
who
stand
have
up?
Knowledge arcana.
You didn't
Yes,
say
you
if
can
I
all
fell
stand up.
over. Did I fall over?
Oh, my sincerest apologies. Yes, you all would have fallen over, but
I might have missed you saying.
as you stand up, my apologies, you can see this gigantic maw just surveying and almost looking like it's sniffing. Just.
That's a 38 on Knowledge Arcana.
38. You are
I
very
rolled a
much aware.
6.
That's impressive. Epic. From your studies, black dragons are very evil, yes. They're also incredibly greedy. And when it comes to wealth and hoards, oh boy, do they like it. They love having a hoard and a collection, especially coins. They really like coins. But these are aquatic dragons. Some live in swamps, some underwater, and this particular one at sea. Does anyone speak Draconic?
I
Really,
do.
Bracken does.
You're the only one who understands as this creature, and the ship is like, the more it holds on, like, and its claws are now holding the top half of its body up, and this neck is reaching out. As the ship it's just sailing like this, you understand it say, "I smell wealth. I smell it on you, and you," as it looks at the two of you. "Submit yourselves to me, and I will grant them all a quick death."
Bracken will respond in Draconic, and he will say, "If it is a toll that you are looking for, be Drake. You must claim it." And he lifts a hand, ready to cast a spell.
Well then, I ask you for the first time, roll initiative.
As initiative is asked to be rolled, contingency erupts into life, and we are automatically granted haste.
Aha.
Haste once more. I can't remember what haste does.
Yep. Well, we'll get to it as soon as I've rolled initiative, so Mike can begin totaling the initiatives, and I will look up the spell. My
I can tell you
initiative
briefly as well.
is. Oh yeah, you're quite used to haste at the moment, aren't you, Michael? Why?
I am, yes.
I have to remember how to read a character sheet again. My goodness. For those watching, by the way, to apologise, but you're viewing my player screen, so you're going to see what I'm rolling, but I'm sure you'll be fine. Oh, that's a 14 on my initiative. Eesh. I will look at the spell now.
And I get 12.
Oh. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, so you double your movement.
Yeah.
If you do a full round attack, you get an extra attack as part of it, as a full round action only. You get +1 to your armor class as a dodge bonus, and you get +1 to your reflex.
I kind of feel like we might need that.
However, that's why Bracken equals 14. Conrad. 12. And the crew. It also counts as slow and neutralizes it. Well, I thought you guys would have jumped in there, but actually, the dragon goes first. Not by much, as we're all together quite close with our initiatives. And it simply opens its mouth wide. Now, this particular dragon is slightly different, because you can see acid forming in its mouth, but what comes out is not a jet, but a cone. And I can do... He's going for you guys. Oh dear. Can you see what I'm doing there?
Oh yes,
Yes.
yeah. That's a lovely new demonstration of the area of effect abilities. That's great. Good to
So
know.
three sailors. That's Shaky Remy, Erdner, and Clyde all have to do a check, and the two of you. Can I have a reflex save, please?
No.
Yes, don't forget it's +1 because of haste.
Thank God. 11.
28.
Oh my days.
That's okay.
How do you only have +8 to your reflex?
I don't know, because
That's
he's got no
wrong.
dexterity.
Really?
Yeah.
Man.
I'll just double check I've got the base stats right, but I'm pretty sure I have.
It's your lowest save, I believe.
Yeah, I
but
imagine
it
as
is,
a heavily armoured Crusader, probably, but still.
Yeah, the maximum it reaches is 6 from the base save, so that's fun.
Jesus.
You can give me a spellcraft check. Just to explain what's about to happen. You may or may not figure this one out.
Spellcraft. Oh, well, I wouldn't bet on it, mate. He's just rolling a 1.
Okay. I will say this, even on a 1, that's enough for what I wanted you to understand. You've studied dragons, you know the magical creatures, and you can recognise what's coming out not only as a cone, but it is as strong as it could be, as if it has been maximised itself. You all take... actually, yes, all of you, except for one sailor, except for Clyde, who rolled a 20, so he takes half. You all take 88 points of acid damage as this cone of acid erupts from this maw. And I have to... Goodbye, Erdner. Goodbye, Shaky Remy.
Oh, God.
Goodbye,
No!
Clyde.
Shaky Jake,
Why?
I mean Remy. Oh, what?
As they
88?
literally
Oh
just
my God.
dissolve in the spot. And you can hear Captain and the bosun just going, no! And Jim, the other crew member, is now just panicked. With that, before anything else happens, I need all of you to make a will save, please.
I am going to use my Zealous Surge to re-roll that.
Please do.
that
Yeah, I'm
once
going to
a
use
day.
my Zealous Surge to do that as well. Oh wait, no, I don't have that because I rolled another 1. That's a 17, but that is a 1, so that's a fail.
How is that? Oh my God.
You are all victim, unless you have any fear immunity, to the frightful presence of this dragon. Of this old, ancient, worm-like dragon.
Annoyingly.
Now that's just... It's just there, and everyone is frightened at this point. So just to confirm, with frightful presence...
Oh my God.
We've rolled so badly. This is supposed to be epic level, and we're just shitting the bed.
The rolls have been dire to start with, but that's okay. It will change. Of course, that's... Bear with me, bear with me, bear with me, bear with me.
We shall bear. I'm scrolling through what I've got with me, and
So, yeah, basically you're all shaken now for... Well, which is, shaken very well.
-2 to attack saves and checks and various other.
That just happens in its presence. And after having breathed out this cone, it lets go of the ship and dives back into the water. As the ship swings, writing itself off the list. It is now Bracken's turn.
Oh god. Bracken is like recoiling, brushing what remains of the acid that hasn't burnt directly into his flesh from himself. The dragon is just gone. We can't see it. It's just gone zip under the water.
He's just let go and dived back into the water, so he's moving under the water.
But
Not to say he can't be visible. Not
so we can see him.
Well, no, if you had certain, like, the abilities to see, like, blind sense or, conventional sight, you won't see him.
That's why I meant, just if he was in, like, line of sight or whatever, but no, he's gone under the water, okay. Oh my god, okay, I mean, listen, that was an insane attack upon Bracken, yeah, he's gonna need to do something about that. How much does Cure Serious Wounds do?
3d8 plus 15.
That's going to be... No, Cure Serious is more than that, isn't it? Oh, no, I think a critical.
Light,
sorry.
Moderate, serious.
Yeah, 3d8 plus 15.
Do I have any critical?
4d8 plus 20.
Ah, critical. Okay, yeah, I'm going to take a Cure Critical Wounds potion. Because, ow. So that's 4d8 plus...
20.
I'm getting used to this new roller. Oh, ignore that, sorry. Why isn't this allowing... Why isn't it allowing me to... Yeah, no, because it's just a single d8. I'm trying to roll.
There's a up and down arrow for how many.
Yeah, I'm trying to hit that, and it's not changing the kind of dice it is.
I'm looking at your screen. So the drop down arrow.
Yeah, I'm clicking at it. It's not doing anything. It's going up and down, up and down. Oh, is it because this is in the way?
The other option is just do it as a type /R space.
Yeah, okay. That's weird and new. We don't like new here.
We don't like new.
Okay, roll 4d8 plus 15, did you say?
20.
20. I still got a 1 in there. so that's 38. So as his movement, he will take a potion. And I'm going to total that onto my health. Because, ow. And then he's going to... Oh, God. See, this is it. I know Bracken back in the day would know what to do, and I'm kind of like, oh my god, what do I do? Frozen with the with thinking about what I'm going to use, the spells that I had prepared. I am going to... I'm going to make one of my illusions to make him think that I'm somewhere else. I think.
Okay.
But I can't remember which one it is. The one that basically looks like me in every way. It's like a... I can't remember what it's called. Oh my god. Just do the Oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to ready to cast when it appears. Or can I do that now that I've already acted and taken a potion though?
Movement potion.
That's like readying an action, so I don't know. It's fine if not. If not, then I will do something else. I think I've got to dedicate my turn to being ready, don't I?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, never mind. I'm going to cast You might be able to see if I'm invisible. We'll find out. I cast Greater Invisibility. That's my turn.
Great stuff. And that's what, 20 rounds you're invisible?
Yes.
Nice. I'm just going to put a little ninja there on your symbol.
In the meantime, I am going to look up that illusion spell.
Yes. Great stuff. As Conrad, I mean, just... Does it look like anything when you cast a spell, or is it just... snap and he's gone?
Oh, Bracken, yeah, it's all of the colours of the spectrum unite around him for a second, and then he just vanishes.
Excellent stuff. With that, we turn to Conrad.
Yeah, so Conrad can't necessarily do anything if he can't see the enemy, but he is going to go and stand over here. And he's gonna loose his spiked chain and just start swinging it. He's just swinging it around him, ready to unleash a strike should any movement enter his threat range as he activates the Thicket of Blades stance.
Ah, nice.
I won't be able to trip it, which is what I'd normally do with an enemy with that, but I can at least smack him one.
And your range with the chain is like 15, or is it more at certain points?
I believe it's 10 feet currently. I can extend that should I need to, but I would have to activate something, so I can't just do that.
Yeah. And
it's within 10 feet. I'm going to thwap it.
Nice. And yeah, you just demonstrate your strength on the side of the ship at this point, just swinging this heavy, massive chain. Some would think it could be likened to the chain that holds the anchor on this ship, but it is but a paintbrush in your hand. We now cut to the crew, and this is quite sad, really. Because the dragon is so much more powerful than the crew, not only are they frightened, they are panicked. What is left of Jim, unfortunately, Jim sees no other option than to abandon ship. Jim jumps over the side.
No!
And he goes into the sea. We will see what happens to Jim later. The captain is sensible enough with his experience at sea to know not to jump into the sea because that's a death wish, so instead cowers behind the helm. The bosun runs to go under deck, swing open the door and vanishing. I'll put him over there for the moment. We're back to the top of the round, and you can feel there's a trembling on the wood, and you can see a bubbling in the waters where the dragon had disappeared as it gets stronger until there is a funnel-like eruption as the black dragon darts out like a missile out of the sea, spiraling, corkscrewing up. Before it finishes its movement, however, the Thicket of Blades snares its hide.
One.
Yes. So I'll hit him one. So it's just an attack of opportunity.
Yep.
But that's still okay. So 43 to hit.
Easily.
Minus 2, I think, actually. So that should be 41.
Then yes.
The question is, I can't remember, the damage pool from last turn. It empties at the end of my turn, doesn't it? So I don't get the bonus now.
I thought it went... No, I thought it stacked a turn, so the following turn it comes into effect.
Oh, yes, that's right, yes, because he almost died that time.
Yeah, because that's the whole point of retaliation.
which...
You could take all of it, then the next turn you retaliate.
Yes, you're right. So that should have been, actually, for the lols, that should have been 47.
That's a definite hit.
And he strikes forth with 29 points of damage as the chain whips out and just smacks it on the side of the head.
So that becomes beautiful level there. And I just need to confirm, your chain's magic. It's been enhanced, hasn't it?
Yes, Masterwork +4 collision chain.
Okay, it's got magical enhancements on it. So you notice that your chain cuts through its scales with ease. It seems to just have no issue cutting through the dense, salt-encrusted hide that this creature has. But that was just an attack of opportunity. It flies up, and it now, as it reaches a height about 15 feet above you, it just hovers in place. And as it starts to hover, all just dust and just all of the sea itself is just blown onto the ship, almost obscuring. Now, I will say this, Conrad. It is blinding having all of this water just being sprayed into you as it's hovering in place. So you're not completely blind, but you may have to do a few things next turn to get past that. But this is just blinding into you. The creature flies up at this point. It's hovering in place. And it is in... He can't see by the looks of it because his eyes are focused on you, Conrad. Just you. Okay. And he's going to attempt a bite. What is your armor class, please?
My armor class is 27.
27. That just connects with you, I'm afraid, as this maw just bites and gets into your hide, dealing 22 points of damage as its teeth just catch into you. He doesn't stick, though. He lets go, but he's hovering in place. Conrad. No, it's because you have Rob C as your name, and I keep seeing the C and thinking Conrad, so my apologies.
Well, I need to change my
Bracken.
actual names on that. Yeah, sorry, I will in a bit. Bracken, now invisible, is cursing himself for his hesitation, but hopefully thinks himself slightly confident that he has a plan. Like, immediately he's building like a stratagem in his mind, but he needs time. So first of all, he's just going to dwell on that vast knowledge arcana roll that I made when thinking about the dragon. Do I know if it has any resistances of any to a particular kind of energy that's obviously not acid? I know that they'd probably be immune to such a thing because that's their breath. But with that 30 or so something, do I know what they are also resistant to?
So, yeah, with that check, I mean, that was an epic level check. Yes, immune to acid, most certainly. They can breathe in the water, but anything beyond that, no. They don't have any specific immunities or resistances beyond that. You know, sleep and paralysis is useless on dragons. That's a given. And you know, dragons of this age are naturally resistant to both damage and the arcane, and the divine to an extent. So there may be some checks you may need to make to further get to his defense.
I know what you mean. Bracken isn't going to waste any time thinking about that. As he levels his hand, there is like a blast of prismatic light, the many colours that Bracken wields forming into a powerful electrical blast. As he quickens, lightning bolts. It arcs up towards the creature.
Very nice. What does it have to make?
Well, does he have spell resistance? Or...
Yes. Yes, he does.
You
I
were
said
alluding
yes.
to the fact that he had spell resistance, so I was like, I'm getting ready. He's going to ask me to do a spell resistance check.
Could you make a cast level check, please?
Now, yes, I can do this. So I have a choice. I can just take a 14 now, because the feat that I took is greater spell penetration. I have this feat that enables me to effectively take 10 on spell penetration,
yes.
but because I had spell penetration before, that went to 12, and now I've taken greater, so that's 14. So I can either take 14 on the roll, which is plus my...
So that'd be 34.
Yes. But I guess I have to commit to it, don't I? I have to actually commit to it.
Or
I'm not going to roll better than a 14, I don't think, so I'm going to go for that. Let's say Bracken draws upon that power and goes for the automatic blast against his spell resistance.
And this is where Bracken shows his quality.
Yes.
He is epic. The spell resistance, not a problem. The lightning bolt strikes true. What is the save he needs to make?
Okay, so it is a reflex saving throw. A lightning bolt is a... he's quickening it, and I didn't say that it was casting at a higher level, so that is a level 3 spell. My saves are here. He needs to make a reflex saving throw of 23. I'm hoping as a big boy that he might struggle. We'll see.
I mean, reflex is one of his lowest.
Well, yeah, but he's also a massive epic dragon, isn't he? So he's probably going to be fine.
He is, and he would be if I wasn't rolling a 1. So that is an absolute full damage lightning
Oh,
bolt.
come on. Okay, yeah, so it's to a maximum of 10d6
Yes.
points of electricity damage.
War.
As the lightning arcs up into the air and hits him for 32 points of electricity damage. But this is really more of a feint, because he sends up the electrical power with his left hand, but in his right he makes some complex somatic gesture as he casts the real spell that he intends to wreck the dragon with. Can the dragon please make a will save of oh god, that was the wrong one. What do we mean? Sorry.
All good.
Will save of 26, please. I suspect he might be able to, but
That's a 2. I went from a 1 to a 2. So that is a fail.
so the offhand is the lightning that arcs up, and it goes straight through him as lightning bolt does. It passes through a target and then keeps going. That lightning bolt goes straight up through him and into the sky, and what the dragon perceives is suddenly he is surrounded by this great storm. A storm only he can see. Bracken has cast an old favourite. You create an illusionary pit. And this does affect flying creatures. And each creature entering or within the area is forced to make a will save. Well, it's the only creature that is a target of mine, so... Or believe the floor on which it stands has become a bottomless chasm. So in this case, the sea becomes like a roiling maelstrom. On a successful save, he is just stunned. He is also just stunned. But those that fail the saves fall prone and are unable to make any action except clawing desperately at the floor in the hopes of stopping their apparent fall. For flying creatures passing over an illusionary pit, they succeed on a will save. They are unaffected, but those fail are stunned. So he's stunned for 1 round, and until he makes the save, he is just going to be roiling on the ground, prone.
So, I mean, you said some complex gesture, but is there more colour here, more prismatic stylings?
Yeah, the lightning bolt is more of a distraction. In his hands, on each of his fingertips, there is a different colour: blue, green, yellow, red. They all conjoin and meet in a line that sort of like just sends the slightest, most subtle glint of like a foil over the dragon's eyes, almost like lenses being put over the creature, so only he is experiencing this dreadful nightmare that erupts beneath him, and he can see basically deep down into the infinitely dark sea twisting around him as if it's opening up to destroy him.
Absolutely, and it drops into the ocean, and that foam that was just blinding you, Conrad, subsides, and instead it's like a fish out of water. This gargantuan creature is flailing in just the tide, and could such a creature actually drown, it would be at risk of doing so, but not an issue for a dragon of its caliber. But it is flailing, essentially stunned in the waters. Excellent stuff there. Is there anything more you can do?
Take another potion. That's my movement.
Fair enough. Roll it up.
I have a few of them, so I'm just gonna use them, you know. That was this used to like have like your past rolls, and it hasn't remembered my past rolls or anything. Something's up with that.
If you type it in, it won't.
No, I wasn't trying to type it in just then. I was trying to bring it up on the roller again, but never mind. It was 4d8 plus 20. Further 40 points of HP back as Bracken watches the creature fall. I'm sorry,
Very
Dom.
nice.
I thought he was going to land on the surface. I'm hoping you'll still be able to reach him with your chain. I have no idea. But that's Bracken's turn.
Is he on the surface of the water still?
Yes, so
Is he
he's
floating?
yeah, he's at its closest, about 15 feet.
That's okay, I can get him.
Goodness.
Oh,
I suddenly
that's your
realised I
turn.
was like,
What's
damn.
Conrad gonna do?
No, that's fine. Conrad takes a moment, closes his eyes, and when he opens them again, golden wings sprout from his back as he summons a pair of wings to briefly help him maneuver the battlefield, and he gains a flight speed for 1 minute.
Very nice.
And with that, he launches himself 5 feet from the surface of the water, so that he can strike this dastardly dragon.
Yes.
And I will attempt an ancient mountain hammer strike upon him.
Ancient mountain hammer.
Let's just do this. An ancient mountain hammer.
Oh no.
Well,
As he summons the power from Highkeep itself, situated within the mountains. And do I want to take some damage? Yeah, I think I probably should. I'll take 5 off this to put into stone power to heal slightly, just in case this goes on too long. I may need that 10
Yeah.
HP at some point.
and remember you are shaken as well.
Yeah, so that's -2. 43.
I mean, he's a tough bugger, but he's also flailing in the sea, so that is a definite hit.
Excellent. So we have to type in a lot of.
And now we're
66 points of damage as Conrad rolls very poorly, actually, on the whole, but swings the chain round. The wings fly out behind him, and he brings the chain crashing down on the neck of the beast.
ouch. And it roils in pain, but it's almost as if it can't see you because its partly the sea splashing around it, and whatever nightmare Bracken has thrown his way. It is its lost turn, and next turn, perhaps, should it still live, we will see what happens to it. So instead, we cut back to... The crew aren't going to move. They're hiding behind the helm, hiding where they are. Let's do a check for Jim. Jim's okay. He's panicked, and he's just started to swim a bit. So he gets to about there. That is all Jim can do. We're back to the top of the round. The dragon needs to make a will save, you said?
Well, he's got 1 round stunned, right? And then I have my turn, right? And then
so I thought you did the check on that for next. So it's next turn. We'll do it.
Right.
Fine,
Well, no,
right.
he spends his round stunned, and then if he breaks on his next turn, then he's out. If not, then he's still just flailing around like mad.
Yeah, fine. Which in that case,
so he loses
Bracken.
1 round. Yeah. Bracken. Ooh, that's interesting. Bracken is going to I've had the spell, but I've changed my mind, so I'm going to use this one instead.
oh,
It's risk. It's a big boy, but we have walloped him a bit. Oh, I don't know if that's going to work. Okay, we're just going to do it, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. Bracken is going to move to this to the edge of the ship, so we can look down upon the writhing dragon in the water. If the dragon has 200 HP or less, this affects him. And I don't mean total, I mean current HP.
this does not affect him.
Bracken reaches out and tries something, but the dragon still holds too much strength within it, and his spell is ineffective. Damn.
Any swift action, or
I didn't declare it, so no, I faffed that totally. And
Fair
as
enough.
such, I will suffer for it.
that is okay. Conrad.
Yes. Well, Conrad is going to Yeah, let's play silly games. Conrad is going to... Let's see, what would that do to me? Yeah. Conrad is going to do a new ability that I've not used before.
Ooh.
So it's slightly different. As he channels, essentially damaging himself in the forcing of the power to come through him and into his chain. He channels a greater divine surge, which is a very nasty attack, assuming I hit. So first of all, let's see if I hit. I'm not going to take any stone power off this one because that would be a silly idea.
Oh,
Oh dear.
That is possibly a critical.
This is very bad.
Would you like to confirm?
Yeah, this might not be great for me, actually. 31 to hit.
That's just a normal hit.
That's something of a relief, because I don't necessarily want to kill him. Because in doing this, Conrad immediately takes 4 constitution damage.
Oh!
Yeah, which takes 40 hit points off him.
Oh!
But that gives him extra damage. Which isn't working for some reason. Why is that? I'll work it out in a second. But he does hit it. So... he strikes it and does 74 points of damage as he channels. There's a lot of 1s and 2s in there as well, but yeah, so he draws on his own constitution to oh, actually, I should have got even more than that, because it's +1 to attack for every. So it should have been an extra 4 on the attack roll there, which would have been 35 to hit, but never mind.
That's...
Yeah.
Ow.
But yeah, 74 points of damage as the Divine Surge hits, and the foe is flat-footed for 1 round.
Oh. And yeah, I mean, that just cuts deep. Like, all that effort and energy you just put into that, it pays off, doing a substantial amount of damage to this beast. That's epic. Is there anything... I'm going to say epic a lot, by the way, just to reinforce it.
Just to remind us.
Just to remind you all. Epic.
That's epic.
That's epic. Is there anything more you can do or want to do?
No, that will end my turn.
Lovely. Crew are doing that. Let's see what happens to Jim. Jim doesn't get very far, but he hasn't gone under the sea, under the waves yet. So he's there. He doesn't care right now anywhere but there. The rest are where they are. We are back to the top of the round. The dragon has to make a save.
Who doesn't? Would you like to hear the good news or the bad news?
Oh, give me the good news.
So the good news for us is that Conrad struck the creature. That actually means that the effect is ended.
Ah, okay.
Oh.
When the effect is ended in such a manner, it is also stunned for a further round.
Unlucky.
The bad news, and I think this might bite us in the arse actually, is that it is duration, concentration, plus 1 round per level. So does that mean that, like, I can concentrate for as long as possible, but then when I stop concentrating, it lasts for 1 round per level?
As far as I'm aware, yes.
Okay, fine, because otherwise I was going to say I just did a spell, which means that I would have actually broken that. But from reading concentration plus 1 round per level, I think I could extend it if I wanted, right?
As far as I'm aware,
We'll look into
concentration
it,
on
but-
its own is however long you keep maintaining. Concentration plus level is the extra time afterwards. So you concentrate, and then once you
Okay.
stop concentrating, you still get that time.
So unfortunately for the dragon, yeah, an attack on an affected creature frees it from the effect of the illusion, but leaves it stunned for 1 round. So the effect ends, so all of a sudden, snap. The dragon realizes he's not in the middle of a storm. He's just being sent by Conrad with this chain.
Absolutely.
But,
He's still
so he's now
flat-footed, so
stunned
he's
for
still
another round,
floundering.
yeah. But then
Yeah,
it's
he's still
then it-
floundering in the water.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Anyway, that's him stunned, unfortunately.
One moment, let me just check something. All good. So yeah, he is still... The way I think of what's happened is he's stunned because he's still kind of drowning, coming to, and reacting to that blow that Conrad did, so it's still finding its footing, because it's in the wall.
Yeah.
Still finding its tread, maybe? Whatever. It's floundering. So, excellent. That's it. Then that's its turn. Bracken.
Bracken wanting to make use of the fact that the dragon has been felled, so under the prone condition, I believe means that he has a negative to reflex if this lands on reflex. Bracken holds forth. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah, because he's prone but
water,
swimming. But
sure.
Yeah.
He levels out like a palm, and you see like a whirling dial of color. It almost looks like a wheel of fortune. Every color, every section of this wheel a different color. As he casts prismatic spray. Let us learn what effect springs from Bracken's outstretched hand as we go to one of his many randomized magical effects.
We like the prismatics.
Oh man, the prismatic spells are just the best, and that is very much what Bracken leans into with his multicolored descriptors that I give him. So it's rolling a single d8 to learn what effect it is, and I'll tell you what I get. 6. Oh god. No, that could be bad. That's indigo. Insane. That's a great thing to do when we're being attacked by an angry dragon. Also, make it insane. Great. Can he make a will save, please, or be driven insane as per the insanity spell? Will 27, I believe. 26. Will 26.
26. He succeeds.
Okay. So anything on a success, each beam has a different power. Creatures in the area of the spell with... No, yeah, I'm guessing he's got more than 8 hit dice. Yep, so sadly, out of this, there is a burst of indigo light, but sadly, another of Bracken's spells are entirely ineffective. He remains invisible and ineffective.
Very well. And I will say, I'm not going to ask you for a cast level check because I'm very much aware you can beat
I'm just going to keep doing that to beat the spell
Yeah.
resistance, so I don't need to.
So,
Sure.
Yeah. Well, a good shot, but unfortunate in that sense. Any movement?
I moved forward to... Oh no, I did that last turn, didn't I? You know what? I'm going to... We're under haste, aren't we? So we can move pretty far. Bracken's just going to zip to this end of the ship here. Zip. Dashes up the stairs. That's his turn.
Excellent. In that case, Conrad, feeling a bit all broken here, but...
Yeah, all of his previous battles are weighing heavily on him, so he knows there's only one thing to do. As he, just so you know, that's refreshed all of my maneuvers because I reached the end of my granted maneuvers. But I'm not going to do one I've done before. I'm going to do a strike of righteous vitality.
Ah.
So to hit 38.
That is a miss, actually. No,
Is it?
I'm sorry. He is floundering in the water. It is just a hit. You're good.
Excellent. And so he takes... He's also flat-footed, actually, so...
Yeah, it won't make much of a difference, I'll be honest.
Fair enough. He takes 22 points of damage.
Okay.
But more importantly, divine energy surges through Conrad, and just for a second, it's almost like he blinks back into his state at the start of the fight, as a heal spell is cast upon him.
Excellent.
Which heals him 150 hit points. It removes Shaken as a condition, and it removes any ability damage as well.
Oh, what a combo.
Yeah. So he is back to full health He
Whoa.
doesn't have any constitution damage, and he's no longer shaken.
That's epic. What I love as well, which I know is a bit removed from those watching this, but that is a move that old Conrad would never have considered, putting himself at that much risk, and how the character has changed to this point that he's so willing to do that to himself to protect other people. I think is such a momentous demonstration of how much he's developed and grown. I think that is awesome.
Yeah.
Time.
He's come a long way.
He has.
And that's the end of my turn.
Excellent stuff. We are then going to check in on Jim, because the others are just cowering. Jim doesn't get anywhere. He is not drowning, but he hasn't moved far. He's just... he's not doing too well out there. We are back to the top of the round, and this I was about to say his name. This dragon gives a shake, and he gives a look, and it's black, withered face. Black dragons have such a just skeletal face, no extra flesh. And for this one's age, it's even more. It's so tight to the bone, it's almost just looking upon a skull with painted to look like flesh. That's how withered it is. But if it could look angry, oh boy. You notice, Conrad, more you would notice at this point, how it's now sniffing and taking in what's going on. You can give me a sense motive check as well. Conrad, because you're nearest. Bracken, you're a bit too far away for this.
It's fine.
14, I rolled atrociously.
Never mind. However, as it rights itself, its head just... How high above the water are you?
I said 5 feet, I think.
It doesn't have to work hard for this then. It goes to bite you. Armor class is...
27.
Force. I was about to do that publicly then. I was like, let's just do this openly. Force of habit.
No, keep it secret.
Keep it safe. That is an easy bite as it reaches out, and as it grabs onto you, it does. $28 points of damage. However, I need you to make a grapple roll for me, please.
Grapple? If only I had the other thing up. Never mind. I'm pretty good at grappling. 32, but it doesn't matter if I roll badly.
You had to critical. I'll be brutally honest. I'm not going to tell you how high its roll was. I'll tell you after the fight how high its roll was. He snatches you in his mouth. That was his standard action. And as a movement, he dives under the water, taking you with him.
Oh boy.
And I think that's a nice point to take a quick break.
After you tried to drown me.
Yeah!
You're a bad man.
I am, what can I say? Conrad, you have been snatched and dragged under. Bracken, you have witnessed this as well. And we shall deal with that when we come back. So, don't go away. Please come back. For those of you who are watching, thank you very much. As Rob always says, please, if you haven't already, give us a like and a subscribe. It means a lot to us. If you don't follow us here, please do. And if you don't follow us on YouTube either, please go to Performance Check and give us a like and a follow there. And we'll be back very soon.
Just for the record, my guy's got a gun on Mike, and he's making him say that, so you better. You better.
And we are back. And oh dear, we find ourselves at sea. We find ourselves with well, you don't know. You know, This dragon is ancient worm, great worm, somewhere maybe in those brackets. More studies would be needed. But where we do find ourselves, Conrad has just been seized in its maw and dragged beneath the tide. But it is not his turn. We will jump straight back into the initiative. Bracken, what do you do?
Bracken is frozen to the spot for a moment, looking around the edge. He's still invisible, so for anyone on looking at this scene, you would just see an empty vessel riddled with claw marks and still bubbling from the acid attack. But yeah, Bracken is leaning over the edge, and yeah, he's terrified, and he saw that the size of the dragon, and he knows Conrad is strong, but Conrad's also like in full armor as well. It was even made reference to earlier in the session. This is probably a bad thing to be wearing this really heavy armor on this.
I did like when you said that. I was going.
Yes, you were like, I'm going to make a mental note of that to use it against you immediately. So Bracken is going to begin cursing to himself, and he's then going to steadily like climb up onto the edge of the balustrade and like stare down into the murky water where the dragon vanished. And he says, I'm probably going to regret this. And he begins to transform.
Right.
As he casts change shape. For the record, I waited all campaign to do this, and it never came up. But Bracken is going to change shape, and no one would see what it looks like, but suddenly Bracken is no longer human. Bracken is reptilian. He becomes a medium humanoid known as a troglodyte.
Oh.
You fucking troglodyte.
Fucking troglodyte. And he goes, and then still invisibly jumps into the water.
Well, so that's your turn, and we will take ourselves where we now. Well, Conrad finds himself, and give me a moment. I'll see if I've got something lizard-like for you, troglodyte.
Yeah, like a lizard folk will probably do.
I don't have a lizard folk to hand, but what I do have. There we go. Medium, yeah?
It's medium, yep. There's a very good reason why I've chosen a troglodyte.
You can have a slard. Controlled by Rob C. You should have control.
You really good control. I'm going to change my display name because that's really distracting that you keep calling me by my real name. I'm trying to escape who I am by playing this game.
Yes, Rob C.
There. Awesome. I feel in control.
I've just made you a bit bigger as well, so you're a bit more.
I have no chance of rivaling the dragon's swim speed, just as a chance, so I might not even be there just yet. But
In that case, on Conrad's turn, I address to you both a few things. One, can any of you breathe underwater?
No.
No. I imagine a troglodyte can.
see, the thing is, I thought they could. But I'm just looking at now, I don't think they can.
Okay.
So, that's troubling. However, Bracken does have an ability that he can call into being on his turn. So if that's a problem, we will address it on his turn. He's had his turn.
Okay.
It's not him.
Then let me explain what happens. You can hold your breath underwater for twice your constitution score in rounds. So your score, not your modifier. If your score is 18, that means 36 rounds. If your score is 10, that's 20 rounds. That is, however, if you are doing nothing. A standard action costs 1 round of breath.
Oh.
So essentially, if you're in combat, you have half that total. So if you're in combat, it's not doubled, it's just your score. Make sense?
Yeah.
Perfect. And if you wish to move, let me know. I'll tell you how that happens. And be aware, you cannot add your dexterity to your armor class in water unless you have an appropriate swim speed or swim thing. With that in mind, Conrad, you are in the maw of this dragon. What are you going to do?
I'm gonna try and hit him, I think. Because that just seems like the thing to do.
Yep.
May I strike the bugger?
Yes.
Excellent. I'm gonna take 5 off it for stone power, and it will be a mountain tombstone strike. 41.
Oh, yes, it is a hit.
One.
Excellent. So it takes 27 points of damage and 9 points of constitution damage.
That's not fun.
As Conrad's like the water's streaming past him as he's being plunged, he like winds the chain around his hand and just punches the thing in the heart.
Oh. So, that means it loses that. Okay. Adjusted. Yeah, you can see it doesn't let out a sound, but it goes. As you can see it recoiling in pain, and just shockwaves just coming out of its mouth as it expels what air it doesn't need. However, it still has a grip on you.
Yep.
Anything else?
No, technically I get a second attack, don't I? Because of the hastage.
Only if it counts as a 4-round action. Not a
You're
standard.
not full rounding attacking? You've not moved, have you?
In grapple.
You get as many attacks as you have if you do.
Yes, because you're choosing not to break the grapple, but that was a maneuver, which is a standard action.
Oh, okay, there you go then. That's what it is. Yeah, fair enough. Wow.
Great.
Yes, because you're not trying to break the grapple, so you're just attacking it, and he's... Yeah, that is fine, I will say. That is all good.
Cool.
But yeah, your feet and your lower body are just lost within its within its mouth. You can't see your legs anymore, and you're also holding your breath. I make a mental note or a written note of how much rounds you have left.
Cool. Are we just assuming that we're in combat for the total of this? And just
You currently are. Rob, depending on your current situation, you may need to make a note of whether bits are detailed.
Okay.
We don't know what happens to Jim, but we're back to the top of the round. It can drop you just instantaneously. It can just let go. And it does that. But this thing, after that attack, he's the wizard, although he may have figured out where he was near the end of the fight, has caused him grief. You have been the nearest threat. And he lets go. And as he does, it looks like he quips at you. Haha. He quickens a spell. What is your touch armor class?
My touch is 14 minus my dexterity.
That is a natural 20. I need to roll to confirm if that...
Good.
Sorry, your touch was...
14.
That's an easy crit. Which... Critical table time, I believe we're only rolling for 2 things. The first 2. Well, actually, no. He may have caught you on a ligament. So... You never know. The critical table in effect. I will roll this publicly. 27. Standard critical. So this does double the damage. As he lets you go, as a quickened free action, he swats you with the back of his hand, and as he does, he just lingers as he just grips across you, doing a shocking grasp to your neck as he... doing... Here comes the fun. 35 points of electricity damage as this shocking grasp, and you can both see the electricity just is reaching into the water, conducting into the sea itself. That was a quickened action. With the ferocity and anger, it unleashes a full round of attacks. Your normal armor class, please, Conrad.
26 minus
26. It goes for a bite. That is a hit. It goes with 2 claws. That is a 20 on the first claw. It's 26, you said?
Yes.
That claw is a crit. Second claw is a hit. And then... No, I'm sorry. He's in the water. He can't use his wings or his tail. But that is a bite, a crit claw, and a normal claw. Let's roll another D100 to see what happens with that claw. You want this low. That is on the cusp. 38 critical multiplier plus 1. So
Ouch.
That is essentially 3 claws in 1 as through the water, almost like an eel, just striking out, just through the tide, just ripping, and then there's another just comes and cuts, and one that cuts deep through the armor. This doesn't look pleasant. The bite. Do you want it all in one, or have you got damage reduction and you need it separate?
I have no damage reduction, so it doesn't matter.
Okay. Right. The bite does 33 points of damage.
Okay.
And the 2 claws No, that can't be right. The 2 claws, one being an enhanced critical, does 87 points of damage. As
Crikey.
one of them just rips. I mean, what does it look like? Where has it struck you? Is it like over a throat, over the chest?
I think, yeah, it's just all... Basically, the thing's so big, any hit's going to be like just the whole body, essentially. So yeah, just everywhere, I think.
And I will say, because of the crit, that's an extra round lost on your breath.
Fair enough.
That is its turn, as it just unleashed upon you, Conrad. I take it you're still floating?
Yeah,
Sinking?
about half health.
Just about half.
Once the damage pool hits, it'll be well under half, but at this point...
Of course, yes, you can delay
Just under
death,
half.
essentially, yes.
Yeah.
Temporarily. Wow. With that, we cut to Troglodyte.
The invisible troglodyte that realizes it can't breathe underwater. Now, a question, Mike. Jumping
Yes.
into the water, like, how deep? Bracklodite, says Matt in the chat. Bracklodite?
Bracklodite.
So, I'm gonna say... Well, how can I see them, first of all? Because I've just jumped in the water. As a troglodyte.
So, it only went... Let me just check.
It does matter, because I have to actually be able to see if I can reach them, what range my spells are.
Do you have as a Troglodyte like low light vision or dark vision?
Oh yeah, my vision's good, hang on. Yeah, please let this be a boon. An accidental boon, being a troglodyte. Okay. I don't think it says anything. That's so annoying. Surely
I'll have
they
a
can
very
see
quick
in the
look for you.
dark. No, well, I have it here. It doesn't say... Oh no, dark vision, out 90 feet. Dark vision.
90 feet, perfect. You're 60 feet down, and with your dark vision, yes, you can see that they are 60 feet below you.
So
you
I'm
would use
60
your
feet
round,
down, and
they are 60 feet down.
Okay,
So,
perfect.
if you jumped, so you transformed, you would have jumped in, you'd be, let's say you're 50 feet away, because you would have 10 feet of extra dive as part of your turn. So you're 50 feet away.
Okay. My base speed, I thought, that'd be good, really good swimmers as well. No, like I've totally misinterpreted what the creature was. I should have looked it up. I just thought, well, there's a reason why. There is one very good reason why I chose a troglodyte, but I'll explain another time. Now, our swim speed, is that usually like half your speed, or is that
So, if you are doing a full round action, it's half your speed. If you just do a move action and like a standard action, then it's a quarter of your speed.
Well, I'm still hasted.
Unless you're still hasted, so double that. Unless you have, give me a spellcraft check. Let's see if you know, because there is a spell that would quite an acknowledged spell that would eliminate a lot of that swim penalty.
Okay, sure. Yeah, that's yeah.
You may or may not have it.
One, no, yeah, that's the thing. There is a way that I can do it, even if I haven't got it prepared. But I have that lined up for something else, so we will see. Apologies, my spellcraft is astronomically high. still roll a 5, 37.
You know, freedom of movement, although it wouldn't give you weaving on the water, would mean you could glide through water as if you were a fish.
Oh, I'm such a moron, because I am currently wearing a belt called, let me see, the Belt of Freedom, which gives me freedom of movement.
Repeat after me. That's epic.
I swear to God, the Belt of Freedom is upon my person. I think I might have to activate it, but it does mean that I don't have to waste what I want to do instead.
Then, in that case, you can move underwater at your normal speed.
Oh, wicked. It is a wondrous item. I need to look it up. Again, all of these things I just was not prepared for, so I do have to apologise for the delay. But, Belt of Freedom. I have got it written somewhere.
I mean, I'm taking your word for it. In this instance, I can't find it either.
It says Belt of Freedom on my thing. It says grants freedom of movement.
Let's say swift action. For now,
Okay,
and if
we'll
that
look it up.
changes,
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. With a swift action, then I will activate the Belt of Freedom, and with freedom of movement, that enables me to invisibly draw close to Conrad. When I draw close, Dom, does Conrad look like he's like screwed, or does it look like if I did something, it would be interrupting him during him doing his thing?
What do you mean?
Do you look
He
fucked?
looks damaged. If I was to give it a number, I'd say he looks a third damaged. Like he's got a third.
So another round
Like,
against this motherfucker.
He's still got some swagger.
Yeah.
You said we're 60 feet down, right? That's what you said.
I did. I would point out, Conrad. Bracken, do you retain anything of your person, or as you're a troglodyte?
Yeah, I have all of my stuff and things like that. Yeah.
Otherwise, Conrad, you've just seen not only you've got a dragon, but you've now got a troglodyte coming to
I'm
Well, he's
invisible.
invisible, so I
I'm
can't see him
invisible,
anyway.
like, remember? An invisible
let me just
growling
say-
reptile.
If you are invisible underwater, the water is displaced around you.
Oh yeah,
So you're
yeah,
not-
sure.
You've got like blur, basically. You've got like a 20% mischance.
20.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Well, it doesn't matter because the growling troglodyte can't say anything because we're underwater, which is a shame. So you just hear a like at your ear, Conrad, as the troglodyte moves close to you, and will use a spell slot higher to use one of his meta magic feats called Silent Spell, which means he doesn't need the verbal component. Of course, he couldn't verbalize a spell underwater, but with Silent Spell, which he often uses when he's invisible or illusionary, he now uses to cast Reverse Gravity as a torrent of water sends both myself and Conrad 100 feet up. Out of the water, because you said we're only 60 feet deep. We go up, baby. And as he does that, the invisible troglodyte clings onto Conrad as they are both hurtled high into the air.
Oh.
That is my turn.
That is epic. Was it just like the area, or was it a target?
Well, actually, that's a very good point. The dragon might come with us, to be fair. It is area up to 10 feet per 2 levels. But what I'm going to say is it's going to be up to 10 feet per 2 levels, including us and behind us. So we leave the dragon behind. So we'll be on the edge of where Bracken decides to cast the spell. Sending us hurtling up, the hope being that we'll breach the surface and then Conrad will immediately be able to spread his wings.
Yes. I've just put you on the map there. Bracklodite. And I need to bring Conrad out. So you all shoot up, and water is shot up with you and everyone. And it's just like a reverse waterfall as you just fire up. And an epic recovery as you leave the dragon behind you. Anything more you can do?
That's my turn because I moved and I had to use a I had to sacrifice a 9th level spell slot to do that.
Fuck.
So yeah, big time. So that's my turn. And by the way, I'm just holding on to Conrad. And I'm on his back. So, like, that's Bracken probably won't be able to hold on, but at least he's invisible and also still a troglodyte, which hopefully will bear more fruit next round.
For the time being, that's not an issue. Depending on what you do next turn, we may see if you need to keep holding on.
That's fine.
Having reversed gravity and taking himself and Conrad up a reverse waterfall into the sky. Conrad, what do you do?
Yeah, well, I will take us back to the boat. To get Bracken back onto dry wood, I guess, not land, really. And there's not huge amounts I can do if I can't see the creature, so I'm just going to change my stance, and we'll go into a stance of immortal fortitude.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Yeah, just in case. And that will be it.
Excellent stuff. With that, let's see what Jim would have done. Oh! Jim, when the dragon went out of sight, has been slowly swimming back, but we'll see what happens to Jim later. Captain Werner. Captain Werner? Yes.
Is that not the name of...
It is Captain Wenlow. Apologies, not Werner. That's Captain. This is what happens to Obsidian's child.
Yeah, this is Obsidian's son. Well, Matt isn't in the game, so you start attacking his family instead.
He needs to kill something.
Something belonging to Matt. Matt, I'm very sorry.
Captain name.
Captain Wenlow, still panicked, is kind of getting to... I know it's expected, man. It's he's standing up on shaky legs. But that is all they're going to do. We are back to the top of the round, and with that... Again, as like last time, you feel the ship moving and rattling back and forth more, and then you see alongside, because reverse gravity goes on for quite a while, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's still going. Yeah.
You see joining this like reverse torrent of water, another explosion of water as the dragon erupts behind it. A bit further back in that bookcase. And as it comes out, yeah, it will try. He's going to do a spot check firstly. No. Although dragons are very perceptive in their surroundings, I've always imagined just coming out of the water, you're not always going to be the quickest off the mark for something, smelling and hearing. So Bracken, maybe it hasn't seen you, maybe it has. We don't know. But
all the
unfortunately,
water just running off me. Yes, okay.
Well, you're still on Conrad's back, are you not?
No, he landed on
He's
the
not
wood,
even
so
your turn yet.
He said he landed on the wood, so...
Fair enough. Well, in that case, doesn't matter too much. It opens its mouth, and it's only just out of the water here, but it can still reach you as he unleashes a cone of negative energy. And unfortunately, there is no saves for this for you guys, as suddenly you are hit by a wave of fatigue, and you're all now fatigued. Fatigue, you cannot run or charge, and you take -2 to strength and dex checks. That includes attacks and everything, etc., etc. That is all it can do. It took a full movement and attack. Bracken.
I just wanted to see if the troglodyte was immune to being fatigued.
Is a troglodyte immune to being...
They are actually... It was negative energy it hit us there, wasn't it? It wasn't poison of any kind.
No, it's technically a necromantic.
Necromantic okay,
spell.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Conrad, you can't help but notice that now you're out of the water, just an undeniable dench.
Oh no!
Because when a troglodyte is angry or frightened, of which Bracken is both, it secretes an oily musk-like chemical.
Oh no!
So I'm afraid you need to do a DC 13 fortitude save or be sickened for 10 rounds. I'm so sorry.
DC 13 fortitude.
DC 13 fortitude save, please, or be sickened by my presence.
Can you critically fail on a?
Well, I critically failed on a save earlier, so I think
I'm fine.
Yeah, but it's still gross.
But it stinks.
It's just the worst. But anyway, that being said, Bracken is looking up at the terrible thing and realizes that something urgent has to be done. So he's going to rush. Still invisible, he wants to spread out. Like, he doesn't want us both in the same place, so it can hit us both with like an area effect again. So he's still hasted. He's going to rush up here to where he originally stood. Still invisible.
Yep.
And he's gonna draw on one of the big boys, I think. He's gonna go to that place, and it's almost like torrents of black ink begin just running out of the gaps in his scales as he gives like a disgusting hiss. He has like the smell of rot coming from him, like a Komodo dragon. And then from outstretched invisible talons, a terrible black shape emerges, roiling as if conjured from space and ink, as he casts Sphere of Ultimate Destruction. We're going there in the first session. So, the Sphere of Ultimate Destruction is just this mass of disintegrating magic.
How big is it?
I'm just bringing that up. It's only a 2-foot radius sphere. But there in there. Oh, lovely! Animated token. There it is. And it doesn't send my laptop insane like it did my old one. Hooray!
Look at
So
that.
this is 1 round for level, and he summons it. You conjure a featureless black sphere of nothingness that disintegrates almost anything it touches. And yeah, so I actively direct it to its target. So I need the dragon to please make this is the thing. It's probably its best save, a fortitude saving throw of 28.
You remember as well, though, all the blood gushing from the open wound that Conrad made over its chest by the dragon's heart.
Wounded its constitution.
Its fortitude is no longer his best save. That is a 2 on the die. What is it like as the dragon attempts to resist, but what gives way first, succumbing to this disintegration magic, is the gaping hole in its chest, as it's almost like the gap in its armor that causes everything to fall off around it, scales being ripped, flesh, blood and bone being drawn into this and just completely, utterly disintegrated. What's it like and what does it do?
Incredible. I mean, that's the thing. Are you pretty certain it's killed it then? Because it does have to. I do have to roll damage for him.
Oh no! Well, it may not have killed it. I'm just describing what it looks like.
Oh, sorry. I thought like the way you describe it, I was like, oh my god, I've killed him. Okay. Let's see. The target must save at a fortitude save or be at the subject of a disintegrate effect. If successful, the creature object is not only partially affected and takes. Okay, so if it's saved, it would still take damage, but anyway. The sphere may destroy one creature, object, or 5-foot cube of matter per round. It doesn't actually give me the damage, so I'm guessing it's just as the disintegrate spell, but at level 9.
2d6 per level.
So 2d6.
So it's 40d6.
40d6, yeah. Oh god, you can tell we're rusty. Playing a level 20 character from the get-go. So 40d6. It'll be fortune.
Wow.
That's where you want your 6s.
That's a lot of 6s. That is 147 points of disintegrating power.
Give me a moment. Calculator comes out for this.
Absolument.
Taking the creature to minus 44 hit points, the Spirit of Ultimate Destruction starts ripping, as I said, the scales, the blood, the bone, everything, until the point that, like a black hole, the whole thing gets sucked in, as it then, this worm just collapses in itself and falls apart. Scales just falling into the ocean as every part of its bones just like a crack of ice and just shatters through as nothing remains, as the worm is destroyed.
He hisses. And as he hisses, he the form of the troglodyte drops away, and for a second you see that Bracken's eyes, usually dappled with colour, have reverted once again to that inky dark visage for a moment before falling away.
Epic. That's epic. And I will point out, Captain Wenlow behind you is gagging somewhat as he was in range of your stench. That last bit. Even you notice as it continues to disintegrate and just fall as dust into the sea, gems and coins embedded almost as like a mark, like a rite, as an arrogant show of status had been embedded where scales should be, and these fall away, gone.
Is the guy still in the water?
Jim is still swimming.
I will fly and retrieve Jim with my remaining five rounds of flight before my wings disappear.
You see Jim is, like, he's swimming at this point, he's starting to lose a bit.
Conrad reaches down and just plucks him out of the...
I mean, with your strength, he's
just like a little baby.
He's a little baby. You whip him out and you bring Jim back. And the bosun reappears. And the captain, Wenlow, just eventually gets the taste out of his mouth.
Oh. Maybe you should stand upwind, Bracken.
I fear I have to conduct more research on reptiles.
What was the thinking behind the transformation, can I ask?
Well, I'm glad you did, because not only can we revel in our victories, we must also reflect on our mistakes. And I made many during that battle. As it has been some months since we've seen battle, and I have to say I am feeling a little rusty. Though my decision to transform into such a beast was thinking that they had a much more survivability under the water. This is not the case. I had to adapt my stratagem. He looks at like the towering waterfall that's still pouring into the sky, like next to the ship.
He's probably keeping the bits of dragon.
Yeah, bits of it staying washed around it. It's it's in cycle. Spin cycle. He will say, are you all right, Conrad? Took a bit of a dive there with the beast.
Yes, it wasn't the dive that was the worst thing about it, to be honest, Bracken. It was being mauled by a enormous dragon. Thank you for taking me out of its reach and then utterly obliterating it. And Conrad will take a seat.
Well, I think I rather was the cherry on the cake. You, I think, did the legwork. But some things never change, eh? He will reach down and offer a hand to the cowering, stench-ridden man and say, "It is all right. I'm afraid to say that we weren't entirely forthcoming with our skill set. But on the plus side, that very skill set has kept you alive. And, I might point out, your vessel afloat at your service."
I doubted those stories of the Free Company were true, but it seems the bards don't lie. I am in your debt, yes. But you must permit me. It appears my arrogance to superstition has led to the death of some fine crew. I need to pay respects to them. And then we can be on our way. I will drop anchor while I do this. You do not need to stand here with us. But just be aware we will not leave these waters until we have given them an adequate burial.
Bites his tongue, not wanting to say something along the lines of they've had burial enough.
Burial under acid.
Scourge. That's actually that's not
That's Scourge talk.
That's not Scourge talk. That's definitely Bracken talk.
No.
Bracken, but he
Scourge
will.
talk with it.
Scourge talk would have been, "Oh, you thought the dragon was the worst thing about your day." He will nod. No, he's absolutely fine with that. Like, absolutely, he will say, "Of course, please pay your respects to your fallen crew. We will." Well, at least I don't want to speak for Conrad, but I shall also pay my respects.
Indeed, I will join you. They served us well for the journey so far. I just regret they can't continue with us.
I mean, it's not a pretty sight, I will say. The acid would have dissolved the majority of what was left, or some of them. What is left isn't much. A boot, some leg. I mean, it's most of it gone. The only one who really resisted somewhat was Clyde, who somewhat managed to duck out of the way, but not a pretty sight.
Bracken will look to Conrad and say, "I do hope that the acid has not compromised the vessel." Does it still look like it's bubbling away, or is it like has it done its work?
Yeah.
I mean, what is fortuitous is the vessel is fairly wet, so the acid has
Diluted.
Yeah, the ship is holding out. I mean, splashes have ripped in some of the tarp on the sails, some of the rope is frayed, but the vessel looks functional. But give me another knowledge arcana roll.
Yes, certainly. I'm gonna start memorizing what I have for skills soon, don't worry.
It will happen in time.
Yeah. My skills, I keep rolling really low on my skills, but 39.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, does it? Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Then you did a flip.
But I did a flip.
You're very aware that there's two things. A dragon, when hunting, won't typically leave its lair too far, especially a black dragon. They are, as much as a red dragon is, black dragons are equally as greedy and just as paranoid about their wealth and their hoards. They would never leave it too far away. And on top of that, although, second point, a black dragon can breathe underwater, it is not something where a black dragon would live. If it had travelled underwater, there would be a pocket, maybe a cave, maybe somewhere where potentially its lair once was.
Given the size of the dragon and the flight speed of the dragon, with that knowledge check, could I pretty much gather that the dragon would have its lair close to the coast? I know we're still we were attacked at night, so we still have many, many, many hours, a couple of days, right, before we get there.
You're attacked in the morning, but
so
you could. It's either one of two things. That it's on the coast somewhere, but what more than likely, having sniffed and sensed out wealth and money, maybe underwater. Perhaps a cave underwater.
Conrad,
this underwater level.
Conrad, this creature, it spoke in Draconic before it attacked. It seemed hungry for the wealth aboard this vessel. It appeared to already be carrying wealth. It is a creature of material lusts. Um, its lair is likely around, close by. We are quite away from the mainland still, so can only ascertain, unless it flew a very, very long way just to strike us, that its lair must be nearby. How we find that, I'm sure there are some magical means that I could do that. I'll have to look into it, but at the same time, it's going to be really hard to find under the sea. So, do we go try and find a subaquatic dragon lair?
I think it would only be worth it if we could ascertain exactly where it was. I think if
There's no point risking it, is there?
no, just like searching at random is we're never gonna.
It would be nuts. It would be like a needle in a haystack, right? Surely. It would be like, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's difficult to know, to be honest. There are like spells that I could potentially use, but I don't think I have a spell that specifically helps me find a location I know nothing about. I have to like know something about it.
Yeah, I mean, all you know of this creature was it was an old folk tale, and even then, people weren't sure what. I mean, because Shaky Remy referred to it as like a tentacle, like a kraken-y kind of creature.
That's what I assumed that was going to be, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I just wanted to tip that on its head. You think it's a kraken?
Yes.
It's
Yeah. Well, when you said grabby, and yeah, I'm not sure if you said the word tentacle, but maybe Remy did, like you said. But yeah. Yes, very unexpected.
No. And we'd also need some way of travelling to it as well if we did find it.
In troglodyte form.
Tell you what, Captain, before you make your... Wait, it was the captain, wasn't it? The captain didn't survive. It wasn't the bosun.
Yeah, captain is the one with his arms crossed.
Okay, captain's alive.
The bosun did survive as well.
Bosun survived as well. He will say to the captain, Captain, before you make your prayers for the fallen, I wonder if you have a way of knowing, these waters well, knowing exactly where we are right now, where you've dropped anchor, where the attack took place. Will you have any means of finding this exact location again? Or is that just too much to... given we're just at sea?
You give me enough time, I could roughly pinpoint on a map where we are. There is a trench that runs underneath the Hacksaw Strait. I imagine we're directly above it. But I could roughly find where we are.
So a trench?
Yes.
Yes, I suspect that might be an excellent place for a dragon's lair.
Yeah.
Very well. Bracken will fish into his belongings, and he's gonna pull out a gold coin. And he'll say, "This is of the currency of Kashrosar. Picked it up a couple of months ago. Old currency. And he will take a serious consideration and concentration over this one coin, and he appears to whisper at it for a moment. He's going to cast a number of spells on it, Arcane Mark being one of them. He's also taking good care to acknowledge what this is going to look like and how it feels in his hand, because he'll have means of tracking this using locate object. it's not gonna provide like a decent chance of us finding it from miles and miles away. But if the captain knows how to get us to this area, then he'll be able to sense it. No point in putting it on something that'll float because it'll be carried away in the tides. Hopefully, he can throw this coin somewhere where they'll still be in range when they're on the surface. So, as a chance, he takes good focus of the coin and then boom, drops it into the water.
Nice.
I make a note.
So, if we want to come back here to see if we can find that trench, that's like an option potentially.
I will point out you're still in Kasrasar, so it's just you just pulled out a gold coin. Regardless, you just went,
it's like me pulling out like a pound coin.
Yeah.
This is a pound coin. You might not know it.
From England.
From England. Oh, dear sir.
Not
That's
seen one of
bloody-
these for a while, have you?
Nothing like bloody sterling, eh?
I mean, to be fair, they probably would not have seen much gold. They're just... I mean, the captain, maybe, but...
Right. Okay.
And you've just tossed the gold coin over the edge like it's nothing.
You see this £2,000
Yeah,
note?
this is a month's wage.
That's what I think of it.
He Luke Skywalker's it over his shoulder. It means nothing. It goes into the water.
Whilst you're doing this, aside from the body of Clyde, for the others, they take what they can and they wrap them in cloth. And for those whose little does remain, they pad out to give the impression of the shape of a body with like some straw on board, other cloth, just to give the impression of the remainder of a body, except for Clyde. And with these wrapped corpses, it's not very ceremonious, but together they give them a pass and a throw overboard as they throw the sailors into the sea. And they all take a moment where they just, some whisper to themselves, some remain quiet, as they mark and honour the dead. And it's only a few minutes later until Captain Wenlow turns, gives you both a nod. And he looks at you, Conrad, because he recognises, more so I think now that the stories of the Free Company are true. My lord, both of you, I would ask your favour to get this ship back up and moving. If you can grab on some of the rope, and we can be out of here and on our way. And with that, the anchor is lifted, the masts are braced, as the swift cutter continues upon its way, heading south to the Lord's Grasp. And for the rest of the journey, a fairly solemn one. And unless, I imagine, is Bracken still crafting scrolls in the remaining days?
Yeah, well, yes. Yeah, definitely.
Is there anything else you would be doing now?
Conrad would be trying to heal himself.
Yes.
It's a much slower process out of combat.
You got potions and the like?
Yeah, not many, to be honest. I may have to...
I can offer you some if needs be. There is some cure serious wounds potion I can offer you, or perhaps something a little bit more intimate to your taste. And Bracken holds forth a draft of the Nymph's draft that we were provided.
Yes.
A companion of Conrad's from earlier days.
Yes, I do actually have some of that myself, thinking about it.
Yeah, 2d10 plus 15, I think it gives us. I was tempted to take it when fighting the dragon. Yeah, 2d10 plus 15. I have 3 of them. So if you want one, you can have one for sure.
I'm loath to waste such a draft.
It is quite powerful, true.
I'll take my I've got serious wounds and a moderate wounds, so I'll take both of those and see where I'm at that point.
Bear in mind that we take our level back in HP, so that's 20 HP per day as well, right? So we had 4 days left. 96 hours initially, and then we had one night, so we've now...
I will say this, for 3 of those days, you will get double because you don't encounter any threats, so you can spend a full day resting, so you get double back.
Oh, nice.
So that's
me back to normal then without needing to heal, so
3 days and nights is 120 plus an extra day, so that's 104, 160.
Amazing.
Okay, that will take me back to full.
Okay.
I can't do maths today.
And basically 3 days lying in a hammock.
Yeah, to answer your question, Mike, it's mainly like recovery and rest, and Bracken puts quill to paper for some scrolls. That's it. That's all we can do.
Yeah, a breath of fresh air just to not feel so seasick behind your clothed privacy screen. And yes, for the 96 hours on board, or from travel time remaining, it is a cautious affair, looking after yourself, resting, stitching of wounds, cleaning. And it is only on the last day where the cliffs start to come into sight. And for you, Conrad, there is finally a moment where you realise that you're back and you're home. I mean, how does that feel?
Well, I mean, throughout the campaign, he has been eager to go home. He's been homesick, and basically, this is the culmination of everything that he had worked towards, is finally being able to go home. But there is a sense of trepidation as well. He doesn't know how he'll be greeted. He didn't leave on the best of terms, so it will be interesting to see how he is, if he is welcome back, I suppose.
And what of you, Bracken? Maybe not a home, but for the Brambleman, how is he feeling?
He hasn't let it on very much. It's not like he's trying to hide it from Conrad or anything, but there's sort of like a pit in his stomach. You know, from what they'd experienced in realms beyond, he kind of almost kicking himself due to his complacency almost. Thinks like an old saying that he'd read in a book once about great monsters only attracting one thing: greater monsters. Is it our mere presence that drew such a tyrant of sea and sky to us? He thought like they'd seen the worst of it in the abyss. But there's plenty of danger on this realm too. And he needs to be ready, because he wasn't then. He had to draw on his greatest power to defeat that thing, which is something that he has tried to avoid doing.
Yes, his whole personas are all about that particular persona, I remember being one that he avoided and did not want to fall into if you could help it. I do remember that. Well, with these thoughts upon you, you enter the noble bay, and what is a nice change of pace, however, as you do, is the quiet. For all the months that you were in Callowin, up until when you left, you were haunted by the sound of the crying and the wailing upon the winds. Yet here, it brushes past you. It is refreshing. The air smells like home, Conrad. It is calm, normal. And as the sun begins to set, you approach a sizable port town, and in the distance you can see what is Lion's Bay. A fairly large, and by the looks of it, hospitable. Doesn't look too intimidating, doesn't look run down, as most of Kellowin seemed to be, where liberty was under its control with the masters. But even then, the settlements in Kellowin and Liberty themselves, there was no lord, there was no control there. Here, however, it's different. It's peaceful, there's law. Even at this evening, as the sun begins to set, children are running up and down the streets. You can hear laughing in the distance. There are people that just seem to be living. Whether they're aware or not of what happens just beyond their border, it's hard to say. But there is a sense of peace as you come to dock in Lion's Bay. And as the sun begins to set in Lion's Bay, I do ask you, what do you do?
I think as we approach the Lion's Bay on the ship, Conrad will turn to Bracken and say, "Welcome, Bracken, to Lovelis. It's been a long time."
Bracken will smile, not least for the fact that his feet touch dry land. Never been totally enamored with massively long voyages. He thinks such a method of travel is madness.
I think Conrad is very similar in that respect. He's from the mountains.
Yeah, so it's like, oh my god. So it is like there is like a genuine like thank God we're off that boat. Like it's been so long.
I mean, possibly a journey Conrad has taken just twice.
Yeah.
But that's hard to... Where did Conrad... Did he go straight to Kellowin, or were there stops in between? We don't know.
We don't bloody know,
yes,
do we?
No.
As you lose your sea legs and get your land legs.
Bracken's presumably never been on a boat that long.
No, he tends to travel by magically dismantling himself and reassembling himself in other places, which is totally not crazy at all.
True. And now that you've got a spot and a location in Lovelis, maybe you've opened up that pathway. Now that you're here.
Yeah.
I feel glad to be on dry land, but it is also good to see that we have arrived where we have long sought to be, where you have long sought to be. Now, it might be best for us to secure some lodgings here, get our bearings, and find out what's happening in the local area.
Yeah. Can we see the mountain that Highkeep sits on from here? Mike?
I mean, it is a fair distance, but you can see in the distance a mountain range.
Conrad will probably point that out to Bracken and say, we should find somewhere for now, but don't completely take your eyes off the horizon. Look, the tip of the mountain, the safest place on Earth. It's not Earth, is it? Safest place in... It's not Main Realm either.
We've never named
the planet. We might have to think about that.
Yeah. The safest place in the world.
The world. Job done. Bracken will look into the distance and he'll sort of like make a mental note of what direction it's in, and he will say, "Hi."
Keep.
It is high. It's very high.
It is.
That's
Indeed.
probably one of the biggest mountain ranges I've ever seen, and I've seen the Bracken.
Yeah, it's no small journey. I wish we had a grizzly scribe to guide us the rest of the way. They'd make short work of it, I'm sure.
Russ is all right. I have many concerns for him. In fact, my concerns grow for him with every waking day. Can't be easy to face your own brother turned demon in the abyss and have to kill him himself. Like, it's just awful.
Yes, that family had been through quite enough, I think.
Yes. It's...
Captain Wenlow comes from behind, having finished with mooring and docking the swift cutter. My lords, I have heard there is a rather respectable tavern up the way called the Sleeping Elf. If you wish to join me for a drink, for all your help, it's the least I can offer you. If you want to see me there, I will. If not, well, you have all my thanks. And he gives you a nod and heads off down the way towards the Sleeping Elf.
So he goes, he puts an arm out and stops him going, and he will say, "Captain, surely it's a trap." And he'll lean in and he will say, "Elves don't sleep." And he'll smile and let him go.
A fair point.
He gives you a wry smile. He's like, "Oh, I suppose, yeah," and carries on.
We'll look deadly serious back to Conrad and say, "Be on your guard."
Conrad will smile and say, "Always." The Sleeping Elf?
Oi.
The Sleeping Elf it is. And, let's go with... Of course, I got one that says Medieval Market and not Medieval Tavern. So you get a Medieval Market.
Is there going to be chicken noises and...
We'll soon find out. You take yourself down the way, and outside of a fairly nice-looking, clean establishment, there's a picture swinging of an elf that's passed out on a table. And above it, it just says, "The Sleeping Elf."
Perhaps if they drink enough, Bracken.
Yes, it's a fair point. You can drink so much you could put an elf to sleep. Maybe that's what it is.
It's a selling point.
A USP.
You walk through the first set of doors and then through the second, and you enter into a warm, fairly busy. I mean, people are still outside enjoying the dusk, but there's a nice crowd in here. There is someone just gently strumming something by a fire. One of the centre tables, you can see an off-duty guard talking to just a couple of people. There are some others around the table, and you can see It's not taken Captain Wenlow long, but he is currently sat talking to someone just up the top there on the raised seating, and then a fairly heavily armoured, regal-looking sort sat on their own over there.
Is he reading a book, or is it just his clothes?
Who?
Heavily armoured guy. No, it's just his clothes.
It's his clothes and a
The
sword.
weapon,
Yeah,
he's
it just
got-
looked like he had like an open book in front of him. But
I mean, this kind of
obviously
town
an
where I wouldn't
illusion.
get past. Just why can't
no one can read here.
we're all illiterate?
Yeah.
Is this establishment, and not this establishment, but is this settlement peaceful place, Bracken? Conrad?
I believe so. I believe it's within the sort of protection of Highkeep. So most unruly business would be flattened fairly quickly.
You know that technically Highkeep and the lords of Highkeep, like the main lordling families, are responsible for the region of Levelis. However, the way the region has grown, there's hardly been a need for, shall we say, intervention. The majority of the place is run by either minor lords or just houses of repute. Generally keep things in check, but Levelis is so withdrawn from conflict that conflict hasn't found its way here, and crime as well is, because of that, an easy thing to quell. And for the majority of the region, Highkeep doesn't really need to lift a hand, because it doesn't have to. There's a respect here. There's integrity to the people.
My people have integrity, Bracken.
Yes.
It's not one of these lawless, bloody villages that we've been in. This is a real civilization. I was trying to tell you.
You were trying to tell us that is true, but what we had to compare it to was a totalitarian regime run by tiger people with backwards hands. So, really, anywhere compared to where we last were is likely better by comparison. But I see your point. It is idyllic. At least, it seems to be.
The thing you need to learn about my people, Bracken, is we don't need to fight. We fight if we want to, and even then, we follow rules, you know. It's not one of these places where you get into drunken brawls. If you have a problem with someone, you take it out into the street, stripped to the waist.
That's not to say there aren't drunken brawls. They have a bit more decorum about them as opposed to others.
It's an honor system, like
Yeah.
full on honor system. Gotcha.
They may
You might be drunk while you fight, but
Of course. Well, that's enough talking about getting drunk. Let's actually do it.
Let's go and do it.
Let's to the barkeep. Please. Bracken will stop and then turn into Bracken and say, Bracken again. I keep calling you Bracken.
Everyone's Bracken.
Everyone's Bracken.
Bracken.
This is my world. No. He will lean in and say, before I go introducing ourselves, are you wanting to keep your arrival here on the down low, or?
I would say it's probably better to make something of an arrival, not allow sort of... There may be some rumours flying, but we don't want to, you don't want it to sort of trickle in. Yeah.
Okay. No introductions then. I was going to see if we could get a discount if I shouted your name loud enough.
I think you might find you definitely won't get a reduction if you do that.
Very well. Barkeep, your finest ales, please, for those weary for a long voyage on the high seas.
Of course. As he goes to a barrel behind him.
Excuse me. Sorry.
That is not inappropriate.
That's not how you address us. I'm so sorry, but if you wouldn't mind.
Stranger, right. Strangers, my lords, right. Ales for the strangers.
We're not the strangers.
No, not they're
That's
different.
something else.
They're different. I've heard stories, and that's
We're a lot more refined than them.
Ah, yes. Right, strangers. Not the strangers. Strangers. As he gets 2 tankards, fills them up with some of the ale from the barrels at the back, sits them on the other counter. He looks at it, says, he points up to the high bit and goes, I was told your drinks were paid for. And he looks up to the chap over there, and the captain gives a thumbs up.
We'll give a magnanimous nod in grateful thanks to the good captain.
Unlike the bars in Kasrasar, this one does not spit shine his glasses. He merely just cleans them.
Woo! It's insane.
High standards.
Conrad's
going to lean on the bar and say to the barkeep, so a couple of new people to the area. What's the news? What's been happening?
Speak.
Well, the war is taking a toll on on Vardal, but we're taking refugees.
Oh.
However, what is your business here, strangers?
Our business is, it's drinking at the moment.
Exclusively.
Oh, you're in luck then. If your business were with the lords, I'm afraid you'd have to wait.
And why would that be?
It's all quiet. Not a word from Highkeep. Not a word. No idea what's going on with the war efforts. We're holding out as we can on our own. But nothing. Not for the last month. Not a peep. So your business is with the lords of Highkeep. You may as well crash here for as long as you can. Not a word, and all those have gone, haven't come back.
Nothing for a month.
Not a peep.
And
now let's talk. I beg your pardon, my lord, after you.
No, you were going to say something. I'm sure it was vitally important.
Now there's talk of spies, they say. Hacks or spies. I don't believe it.
Wow. How many people have gone to Highkeep and not returned?
Hard to say. High Strat has sent men, but he will not go himself. But the rest of the house hasn't returned.
And House Strata is what the local sort of
Oh, you really are a Greenfoot, aren't you? They're who run here. They're the lords in charge of... I say the lord, they're the house that responds to the lords. You may call them a mayor or... Well, they're the house.
The house always wins.
The house always wins.
Interesting. And the other local towns and areas, they're functioning normally, are they? Or have you not heard from them either?
Valleydale has stopped people going up the mountain.
They've stopped people going up to Highkeep?
Oh, yes.
Because no one's coming back, or?
Because no one's coming back.
You'll forgive me for asking, Barkeep, but there appears to be many strong, strapping-looking, fighting-age men within your establishment. This town and settlement looks idyllic, peaceful. If I didn't know better, I'd say there wasn't a war to the north at all. Is this settlement not concerning itself with a conflict?
He leans closer in. Of course we're all scared. That doesn't stop us living our life.
Not being concerned, I mean concerning yourselves with, Barkeep. Why aren't these men at the front?
No word is given. Some have gone voluntarily. But there is no conscription. The army have not moved.
So there's been no orders to mount a fence against the border from Highkeep?
No.
They're sitting on their hands, Conrad, he'll say to Conrad. Sorry, before looking back to you, Barkeep. Apologies.
Yes, a lot have gone to Border's Hand. They are staying to help the refugees, those who flee into our region.
It concerns me, Bracken, that Highkeep is silent on this.
I mean, yes, certainly.
I will say, there's about a fortnight ago, there passed through here some magic sort. Guild? No. The Synod, that's it. A few of them passed through and said they would offer to investigate. Haven't heard back.
Synod.
Something like that. My hearing's going in my age.
Ken's demeanor changes and becomes incredibly menacing towards the Barkeep. That isn't a name that he likes to hear, and he will say again, the Synod of the Dominion.
Yes, my lord.
Everywhere my path leads me, they dog it.
Well, it seems we have reason to visit Highkeep then, Bracken.
We had reason enough already, now we have utter conviction.
Yes.
It's up to you, Conrad. Do you want to go immediately, or would you rest? Personally, I feel like we've done nothing but rest on that damned vessel. But I also acknowledge that we are tired from the journey. This is your land. You lead.
Do I know how long it would take to...
Let's have a look, shall we? Let's
take a little peek.
Have a gander. Let's see. It's because I didn't put the grid on here. I thought, let's not put a grid on this to make it nice and pretty. And now I've realised that would be useful.
You can from the map settings though, so if you want to add one later.
Yeah. If you hustled, you could do that in 2 days. If you were taking your time, 3.5, maybe 3 days, to then scale from Valleydale up to Highkeep, and not just Highkeep, but the Highkeep itself, and then the surrounding small settlement that kind of leads up on the mountain up to the actual keep itself. That would take another day.
Well, I feel like there's no reason to delay unless...
There is no reason to
We can
delay.
find
We
out
are
more,
arrested.
but-
We arrested and we can make camp on the road.
Can you both give me a spot check?
Yes. Let's give it a go, shall we?
Yes, let's. 21.
34.
Ho!
Conrad, maybe you're preoccupied. Bracken, your senses since you've been in here have just been like sharp. Everything you're alert to. You've been scanning the room, especially since names have been dropped. The synod especially, your senses have just been hit into overdrive. And you've noticed 2 things since you've been having this conversation. The guard, sat at the central table, has been constantly flickering a gaze to the 2 of you in an almost panicked-like manner. And the heavily armoured individual on the high seating has not broken a stare between you and that guard. Not even bothering to look at drink or anything. He has just been staring both at the guard and the 2 of you.
The guy, could you bring us back to the local map, please?
Of course. Sorry, I realised
That's
I
right.
need to do that.
No, it's easy to miss, man. So the guy that we spoke about earlier, the heavy set armored
This
guy,
guy?
is staring at us.
Okay, yeah, that guy
And
is
that one.
that exactly. Yeah. So the one at the first one you selected, Conrad, is looking a bit nervous and on edge, and the other one has been staring at both you 2 and that guard.
Ah, okay. So, did Bracken notice it, but Conrad didn't, did you say?
Yes, because Conrad's a bit preoccupied.
Bracken's going to say... really, really low, with a low voice, and he will say, it would appear that our arrival has been looked for, and like he just does like a flick of his eyes to suggest the direction that he means, and I think it's pretty clear from that direction probably who Bracken means by that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Conrad will surreptitiously, to an extent as surreptitious as someone like Conrad can be, he's going to look in the direction that Bracken is directing him. I assume I wouldn't recognise either of the individuals.
The guard looks like a normal town guard. Give me... I'm trying to think what would be the best here. Knowledge local would be the knowledge I'd be looking for, but I would say you could also add half your level in terms of memory, and you're not completely familiar, but you've still got some memory of the area.
Going forward, does that mean that Conrad just has like a bonus to knowledge local then that we can potentially rely on in the future, like what he might remember from his previous life?
Yes, yeah.
Cool.
Great. So basically my intelligence plus
10. Yeah.
So 11. Whoa! Holy shit sauce.
Lovely.
Okay, yeah, so this guard, militia, very much dressed as militia. The guy at the top, you can catch a glimpse, and there's like a heraldic symbol on his chest plate that rings a bell. There's something in there. You've heard of a lord family, maybe from your youth, having to being, of the circles, having to attend maybe certain functions and the like. But do you remember of a family known as the D'Artains? As you are
Dartings.
Divisier, he is the Artains.
Ooh.
This is a lord.
Crikey.
I'll put the name in there, but at least that's the lord name. As you are
Yeah.
Divisier, he is D'Artain.
Yeah, Conrad will sort of, I guess probably that's a bit of a surprise that, like, you wouldn't really think a lord would be in a random local pub in a port town by himself, just chilling. He's not chilling, he's
He's not
bristling, but
I will point out, you can see on his other side, you wouldn't have really seen it unless you'd gone up there, but now you're really looking, you can spot the kind of the go-to for a lord of Levelis, and that's a rapier to one side.
yeah. Do I know anything about the Dartain family other than that they are a noble house?
Noble house, you would assume maybe a noble house of the area, not as high a status as others, but can pull weight. Definitely of the upper circles. Definitely seen with respect. However, they are not of House Strata, where they would be like the
ruling family, aren't
the
they?
ruling family, whereas the Dartains would be essentially kind of like upon that council.
Right. Yeah, I'll pass that on to Bracken. The armored gentleman in the corner is. Don't recognise him, but his crest indicates he's of a noble house, Dartain. Well respected, but not as high as the, for example, Divisiers.
No, of course. With what you had said before about not wanting to announce your presence, would you prefer to introduce yourself? Or would you prefer to leave immediately? I dare say if you recognize him, he will most likely recognize you.
Well, he does seem to be somewhat staring a hole into us, so...
we mean to journey. We may not have an opportunity to pick his brains. Perhaps we should discuss matters with him before we leave.
Yes, it probably can't hurt, can it?
Barkeep, what has that man been drinking?
Oh, he had one of our finest wines. He's gone slightly farmer as well. He had one of our Hoo-har. He had one.
He had some cider. He did.
He had some cider. He did. No, he had a wine. But
is it an elven wine?
Yes, he hasn't had a second cup.
I would be,
and that was over an hour ago.
Of me, not cheapskate. It would be remiss of me to not get him a drink before we intend to go over, please. Some of your finest elven wine, then, please.
He reaches underneath, pulls out a very nice looking bottle of wine. He flickers it up to the captain. The captain just goes,
We'll pay for this one.
He'll just go,
begrudging.
this'll be on us, fear not.
Make him pay for the most expensive drink in the place.
That is a gold piece for
You meant the
for
bottle.
the bottle.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, he'll
He
definitely
pulls out two
pay
other
for the
glasses
wine
as well.
Yeah. I'll remove 1 gold piece off my immense fortune.
Do you have an immense fortune?
I don't
That
want
you-
to know what your
Not,
fortune is.
no,
Constantly
no,
burn
not-
through your gold.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah, exactly. My fortune's probably nothing in comparison to some of the others. He'll take the bottle and he'll take a number of cups, and he'll say, I can introduce you. It is my intention to be your advisor, Conrad, to be your vizier, to be your counsel, your first voice, as they say in Main Realm. I would stand at your side and introduce you, as is the custom, I believe.
If it'd help in this situation, personally, I see myself more as your fist and shield.
Well, it depends. Perhaps in your culture, it's all about leading from the front, so perhaps it is more beneficial if you introduce yourself and you act, but it's up to
No, they're not about leading from the front. They're about trappings and overblown rhetorical flourishes.
you. See why you left.
I liked it, Bracken.
I'm sorry. I was thinking this isn't like our
I just wasn't.
Well, as you go to move,
I just wasn't built for it.
you notice as you leave the bar, the militia stands up. And as the militiaman stands up, so does the heavily armoured knight. And the militia sees the knight has stood, and then goes to run. As the
Quick
militia appears
telekinesis.
to... Sorry?
So like quick in telekinesis.
Let me start some epic running away music.
Sorry.
And that again. You quicken telekinesis.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
I'm quick in telekinesis.
Excellent. What save does he have to make, depending on what you're doing?
So I am going to see that I wasn't gonna Is he like he's running the guard is rushing to the door, is that right?
Yes.
So my idea wasn't to cast telekinesis on him. I'm casting telekinesis on the table that he's standing next to, and I'm gonna just smash it into him. Just to knock him over, Like, he goes to run, and the table just goes whoom, and just like catches him and just like hurls him across the room, and hopefully stops him in his tracks.
You know what? Yes. So
he has to
ends
do a
up
reflex
colliding with this
saving.
table.
No, he gets a save. He has to do a reflex of 24.
24.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see. Nowhere near. You've described it fairly eloquently, but what is it like as he just collides with this table here?
It's like he gets up to run, but immediately Bracken's like vision just snaps to him, and the table just goes whoom, and like the rim of it just catches him like under the chin as like it just is thrown upwards, and it just sends him like sailing backwards in an arc. He's just uppercutted a man with a table. The table explodes on the ceiling of the tavern as this guy is thrown to the ground. I'm not intending to do it at full power, but I can roll damage if you want.
Treat it as... It's going up, so... And with the force of it, so treat it as like a 20-foot sort of equivalent. So, like 2d6 maybe?
Well, let's see. I can throw things really far. So how high is the ceiling? Sorry, it's like
10 feet maybe. It's a nice place.
All right, it is 2d6 then. Okay, never mind. I was trying to blag a bit more, but because it is quite powerful. But I also don't want to kill him, I suppose. So, 8 points of
8
bludgeoning damage.
You bludgeon him in the chin, knocking him, skidding him into the table as the militiaman. As he does this, the two women who are sat opposite him stand up. One pulls out a knife, the other pulls out a short sword from under, like under a robe on her dress. She's like, shh. Just like that, Conrad. And it is there I'm going to leave this session. And we shall start next time with the conflict in the Sleeping Elf.
Incredible.
There it is. So as we leave, just as Bracken wrecks the place, he flips the table. Let's start with Bracken. Thoughts?
Well, first of all, it just feels really cool to be back. From my perspective as a player, first of all, it's always really nice when you've had like a long stint of being the DM, just to let loose as a player character. Having to definitely like watch myself because that is an incredibly powerful level 20 wizard. So I find myself like just floundering in the wake of everything he can do. But no, about the session itself, I'm absolutely in love already. Like when you showed that map, this is like, bear in mind we spent a whole like level 3 to 20 campaign where these characters, like a long while back now, talking about Highkeep, to finally arrive and see it, and also see how cool the land looks. Like, it's really, really special. Like, I've just imagined it for ages, and as soon as that map came up, I was like, "Yep, that's Highkeep."
Yeah.
Like, it didn't feel wrong to me. Like, it felt perfect. It felt correct. So, like, kudos for the map making, but also kudos for just setting up that arrival, Mike. That was really lovely.
I will say it was very every time you've described Conrad and Highkeep, all that's gone through my head is two sort of influences, and that's Arthurian legends and Bretonnians. Like, you know, get the
100%.
that sort of level of knights and pomp, but also that kind of extending to the lore of the lands as well. And if you have, I don't know if you saw on the map something like the Maiden's Kiss and the Heart of the, all these really cheesy, but I think you can get away with it in that land. Anywhere else, maybe not, but it just fits there. But yes, thank you.
But I'm going to go on for a while because I just want to sing the praises of that session, to be honest. Really fun, obviously, like you said, to like start out with something big. So really, really fun for it to start off with just a full-on fight with a dragon. It was like, okay, we're going big. So that's really exciting because if that's where we're starting, whoa.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about exploring the new area. Like, I'm really, really fascinated about like doing some exploration, and yeah, just the whole mood of it. I just really enjoyed. I think the thing I most enjoyed about the whole session, though, was being able to talk to you, Dom, as Bracken and Conrad, fully in character, and there they are. There they are. It's been so long since we played them, and yet, like that, they're there. I know it's not like we're putting on accents or like straining ourselves to like act as in character or whatever, but like that's them. That was their dynamic from the start. Like, and we seem to have just like fallen straight back into that.
For me, I really saw it when you were trying to undo the cloth and the tarp. For that moment, there they are.
Yeah, moments of epicness, like completely like juxtaposed by like immense levels of incompetence at the same time. Absolutely. But no, I just love that character dynamic. I've always loved the dynamic that they had, and it just feels like it's just so organically continued. I just really, really enjoyed those interactions that we had. It felt right, it felt comfortable, and it feels really exciting. Like, I'm so excited to find out what's happening with Highkeep. I'm so excited to see more of that area. Like, I know you said there's only going to be a few, like, but like, I'm in no rush. Like, I've seen that map and I'm like, oh, give it to me.
All of it.
All of it, yeah, man. So I'm just buzzing to see where we go, and I realise I've been going on for ages, but yeah, you asked for my thoughts. Those are my thoughts. The finishing touch. Mwah! Chef's kiss. Let's do it.
We appreciate your thoughts. And I will just before I come to you, Dom. Anything like what's going like through Bracken's as well? Like Bracken's mind, is that?
What's going through Bracken's mind?
Yeah, like your thoughts, but also Bracken's thoughts, and then I'll come to you, Dom, as well.
Ooh, like what about what's happening with Highkeep?
Yeah, like at this point, you know,
The synod.
The synod's the big one. First of all, you've just made me think of something else. We've alluded to quite a lot in this session that people watching won't understand because we've played, like you said, like a level 3 to level 20 campaign where a lot of has been explored about their background. However, I like that we've had nods to what's been going on, but we're not outright explaining it. I think when it's prudent and like we can explore in delivering that information, not that we're trying to play to the viewer, but like because I like how we're playing it that way, if that makes sense. Like it's like there's like a history here. So anyway, that. So when the synod comes up, which obviously is something that Bracken has like a very complicated and very menacing relationship with, like that has like triggered something in him where it's like, oh, okay, we're not just here for Conrad now. We're not just here to install Conrad as some great power in Highkeep. The synod are here. That's a big problem. They're the worst. So as soon as he said that, it was like, right, this is action station. So Bracken is thinking, to answer your question after all that spiel, Bracken is thinking that not only does he have a duty to Conrad, he now has a duty to himself to bring about change in this region.
Nice. So, Dom and Conrad, thoughts and thoughts.
Yeah. So, like, my thoughts, first of all, I guess. Yeah, I loved just diving straight in with the like crazy encounter that's just a massive dragon. There's not often that I've felt that Conrad has been in danger in this sort of like later stage of his levels. There's been plenty of times where he's not been effective necessarily, but he was in danger. If that fight had continued, he might have been in real trouble. So that was a fun new dynamic when I wasn't expecting a fight even really to that level. And then coming to the land and seeing like the map and seeing all the places. Yeah, perfectly named places. Some of those just like utterly absurd names, but this is what they're like. They call their fucking castle at the top of a mountain Highkeep. They're like, yeah.
I mean, I
They
think
see themselves as poets, but they're idiots.
Yeah, I will point out my favourite place currently, which is Lake Chilfroy, because it's just so. It's just south of the Conqueror's Plateau at the top.
Yeah.
No,
it's just the whole area
is
just.
I love the look of it, man. Like I love the names, and I like that the map is it's got like a kind of worn vibe to it, if that makes sense. And I like that there are battle lines drawn.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I think one thing I've known about this in Highkeep is I've known that war is coming in some way, shape or form, and how that's going to respond, I don't know. That's up to whatever happens in this, but I've always liked that you said that war has never been close to Highkeep, and I thought, well, what if it started to?
Yeah, it's how do people who don't have to deal with that, how when it actually starts to encroach on them, how do they react? Yeah, I think you've got the positioning of Highkeep perfect as well, like the just looking down on the world from this sort of indomitable spot. It's exactly what I had in mind when I described bits of it. So yeah, perfect. And I'm really excited to explore the world. Can't wait to see Highkeep itself and the people. I want to talk to Dartain, because like that sort of person is exactly the sort of absurd. Well, not even he might not even be absurd, but it's that sort of the people who are involved in the culture of the lords and ladies of the area. I can't wait to see. And Conrad's worried that Highkeep's not been heard from for a month. That's worrying for him. Like, they're not necessarily the most involved, I guess, probably with the surrounding area, but they would be constantly like, they want to be seen, don't they? That's unheard.
I mean, yeah, they have a finger in every pie. They just, they have
don't need to. Yeah, they do it because they want to be, not because they have to be. So yeah, that's worrying. The synod, obviously, Conrad also is aware of as a load of bad apples. So very excited. Conrad is very worried, and the war coming to the door of Highkeep almost potentially. So yeah,
let's fight the war. Stuff. I want to fight the war.
Change of campaign. Let's.
Would you go north?
I'm gonna give you a heads up now, Mike, because like I didn't want to put you on the spot, but at some point I'm going to ask the question, and I imagine Conrad probably already knows this, but I want to know where each of the, because you talk about these other houses, like obviously there's Divisier, but then there's Dartain as well. I want to know the house names, and I also want to know where they are, where their seat is on the map, and where they rule from. Because you alluded to where the liege lords were all settled.
Yeah.
But I want to know where they all are.
You want political,
and they're standing
exactly,
within the.
Exactly. Yeah. So like, I'm giving you a heads up that I'm. That's what I'm going to be looking into. So, yeah.
Well, you know 3
Yeah.
at the moment. You got Divisier,
Mhm.
you got Strata, you
Mhm.
got D'Artane. Well,
Mhm.
D'Artane. It's Divisier,
D'Artane.
D'Artane,
Yeah.
but D'Artane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
There's a well, you'll find out. Well, I am glad you enjoy it, and I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing you do more epic things. I keep saying that's epic, but I'm also looking forward to seeing you do the complete opposite, which is throw your weight. I'm looking forward to seeing this, and it's just
Big time. Yeah.
I yeah, and I will also say I've in fact that's my first time leading a stream of any sort, so
That's right.
thank
Yeah.
you. It has been a pleasure. Um, so I think on that note, we'll just say for those of you who are still watching, and for those of you who are, as you say, after the fact, thank you very much. As always, give us a like, and if you haven't already, and if you can, give us a subscribe. And yeah, if you enjoyed this, we'll be bringing more of these over the next coming weeks and months. And if this is your first joining us, do please go back and watch Knights of the Apocalypse, DM'd by Rob, for an immense, both in scale, performance, depth, everything, campaign, which I'm sure you will love and adore and cherish as much as we do. Anyway, I'm bragging on. So, as we always sign off, bone those rolls.
And then
Bang those
roll.